Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Gao Wu, the Clone Thunder Dragon, I Electrocuted the School Beauty. Chapter 1. Yesterday, Zhongcheng's Ferocious Beast Management Bureau sent news that several vicious beasts have sneaked into Zhongcheng. Please try not to go out unless necessary. Everyone, students, turn to page 10 of the book. Today we will learn about the classification of ferocious beast species and their habitats. In the classroom, the teacher was talking about martial arts knowledge. Li Qingshan sat at the desk at the back and put a chicken leg in the drawer. A small snake as thick as chopsticks, covered in blue, can release a slight electric arc with just a thought. This is the clone that he has traveled through time. After smelling the fragrance of flesh and blood, he crawled onto the chicken leg and started to bite into it. A chicken leg was eaten up by an electric snake. Swallow one bloody chicken leg. Electric snake chi and blood plus 0.1, feedback chi and blood 0.1. The next moment, Li Qingshan felt a slight warm current pouring into the sea of blood in his body. This was the energy and blood power that he had worked hard to cultivate, but now he could directly feed it back to himself through the devouring of this electric snake. These days, after searching on the mobile phone network, Li Qingshan probably got some understanding of this world. It is 10,000 times larger than the Earth, but the countries and geographical locations are similar, and there are many more man-eating beasts. Human existence is constantly being compressed. In addition to specially built cities, there are already a large number of ferocious beasts in the wild. It is a forbidden land for humans and is no longer suitable for human habitation. Everyone in the city comes of age. It's time to start the martial artist qualification test. The result of my qualification test a few days ago was D level. I am at the bottom of the martial arts talent list, but I also pressed the deadline to enter the martial arts university. As for other students who did not have the martial artist talent, they all went a normal university. As for this clone and system, I just got it this morning. Personal panel opens. Subject: Li Qingshan. Strength: Level 0 Warrior. Chi and Blood: 0.110. Talent: D level. Already obtained the electric snake ability and thunder energy and blood talent. Avatar: Electric Snake. Strength: Level 0 Ferocious Beast. Chi and Blood: 0.110. Talent: D level. The electric python can be evolved at level 10, and the evolution route has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, ancestral dragon. One chicken leg can provide you with 0.1 chi and blood. As long as you have 100 chicken legs, you can feed yourself 10 points of chi and blood, and then become an official warrior. How much does 100 chicken legs weigh? It's probably equivalent to 20 kilograms. If you kill a pig weighing about 300 kilograms and feed it to the electric snake, will the energy and blood power you feed back be enough to allow you to quickly break through to the level 10 warrior? In the martial arts university class, everyone has just entered school, and most of them are not even warriors. With this clone, I can be said to be far ahead of everyone else. Think of this. Li Qingshan became a little excited. Li Qingshan, are you here? Just when everyone was in class, a beautiful figure suddenly appeared outside the classroom door, wearing a white dress. She was the school beauty and genius of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. Wang Qingche. Whoa! Suddenly, everyone in the class looked at Li Qingshan. Isn't that the school beauty of our Zhongcheng Martial Arts University? Why is she looking for Li Qingshan? I heard that our school beauty Li got an S-level talent in the warrior talent test and will definitely become a female war goddess in the future. What? S-level talent? Oh my god, I only have a C-level talent. Is the gap between people so far apart? Before entering the martial arts university, school beauty Li was already a powerful warrior, but her specific strength is unknown. There was a lot of noise in the classroom. Classmate Wang Qingche, what's the matter? The teacher asked, obviously knowing Li Qingshan. Li Qingshan, your family is too shameless. It insists on your marriage to me but is unwilling to cancel it. Your warrior talent is only D level, and your family is in decline. How can you be worthy of me? It is impossible for a toad and a swan to be together. Don't you really understand this? Wang Qingche stood at the door of the classroom and looked at Li Qingshan with an angry look on his face. Quiet. The scene was completely silent, and everyone looked at Li Qingshan and Wang Qingche in shock. What? School beauty Wang and Li Qingshan are actually engaged. This guy Li Qingshan is really unlucky. He's the beauty of the school. It's useless, isn't the engagement broken off? If this kind of thing happened to me, I would definitely break off the engagement. After all, Li Qingshan's warrior talent is only D, and Wang Qingqi's warrior talent is S. They will never be in the same world in the future. The Wang family is a big family in Zhongcheng, and there is a female war goddess guarding the family. Li Qingshan is an ordinary family, and he still lives in a low-cost house. That's right, the toad still wants to eat swan meat. How did two people in heaven and on earth get engaged? In the classroom, there was a burst of lively noise again, and everyone's eyes turned towards Li Qingshan, who was sitting at the back of the classroom. The engagement was annulled. Li Qingshan felt numb. The Wang Qingqi in front of him was indeed good-looking, but he was insulting himself in front of the whole class. Isn't that necessary? In the past 2 days, Li Qingshan had just established a good relationship with the new classmates in the class. Wouldn't everything fall apart now? Toad, good guy, who wants to communicate and cooperate more with a toad like me in the future. But if he wanted to refute, Li Qingshan really didn't know how to refute for a while. Based on his talent, he was really a toad. System thing. Li Qingshan didn't dare to tell others. Isn't this just being forced to death? The engagement was made by Qingshan's grandma before her death. She gave me countless instructions. If it weren't for the old man's instructions, what would happen if I broke off the engagement with your Wang family? You girl, you still dare to come to school and insult my son. Isn't it a bit too bullying? Just then, a couple hurried over. It was Li Qingshan's parents, and they yelled angrily. In addition to Li Qingshan's parents, Wang Qingqi's parents also rushed over. They were dressed luxuriously and even had 2 warrior bodyguards behind them. It was obvious at a glance that they were either rich or noble. Strong aura. He came over with a strong aura and said, back then, your mother, that vixen, didn't know if she had seduced my old man, so she agreed to the marriage. Li Qingshan and Wang Qingqi's marriage. It was the original agreement between grandma and the grandfather of the Wang family, both of whom were god of war warriors. Later, during a mission, her grandma disappeared without a trace, but according to the testimony of the grandfather of the Wang family and others, it was revealed. My own grandmother became a traitor. Without the support of the god of war and the infamy, his parents and several uncles were expelled from the official organization. The family was annexed by several big families in Zhongcheng, leaving them completely lonely. Vixen, what are you talking about? Wang family, don't bully others too much. Li Tijun's eyes flashed with bloodshot eyes, he clenched his fists and shouted angrily. Is it too much to bully someone? My Wang family has bullied you today, what can you do? Why, do you want your son to tell me not to bully young people into poverty? Wang Wei sneered, his face full of disdain for Li Tijun and Li Qingshan. A good-for-nothing old man and a good-for-nothing son also want to marry my daughter. I might as well tell you that my Wang family has already prepared a marriage with the Zhao family in the Demon City. If you, the Li family, are sensible, you should sign this engagement dissolution document as soon as possible. Say it. Wang Wei looked at Li Qingshan with a strong sense of oppression. The temperature in the air suddenly dropped a few points, which made people breathe. You, the Wang family, seem to be a bit too bullying. Just then, a woman's crisp voice suddenly sounded from Li Qingshan's side, and the eyes of the students in the class all looked towards Li Qingshan's side. The long white skirt just covered 1/3 of her thighs, but her long, slender white legs were flawless as she sat in a wheelchair. My lame deskmate, Subai Porridge. Perhaps for some self-esteem, she usually wears a women's bamboo hat and the white gauze hanging down just enough to cover her face. Until now, except for Li Qingshan who took a sneak peek when Subai was eating porridge, no one in the school had ever seen Su. The appearance of white porridge. When we first assigned seats, no one wants to sit with a cripple. It was Li Qingshan who took the initiative to choose Subai Porridge. There was no reason, he simply thought the name sounded good. Later I took a look at his appearance. Li Qingshan's breath was stagnant, but he didn't expect that his deskmate was so good-looking. White moonlight girl, a lame man, how can he come up with all this nonsense? Wang Wei looked at Subai with murderous intent in his eyes and said, staring at Subai on the side of Li Qingshan. Lame, oh, can you say it again? The next moment, Su Baijiu slowly lifted the white gauze covering her face, and looked towards Wang Wei in front of her with a pair of spring-like eyes. After seeing clearly what Su Baijiu looks like, Wang Wei and Wang Wei's wife were slightly startled, with a look of surprise on their faces. It seemed a bit unexpected. The young lady of the Su family can't help but let her break off the engagement, right? Wang Wei's tone gradually became calmer. Su family. Is Su Baijiu the young lady of the Su family? Is she the Su family in Shanghai? Looking at Wang Qingche's father's attitude, besides the Su family, who else could it be? Ah, the young lady from the Su family. Why did you come to our Zhongcheng to attend the martial arts university? I didn't expect Su Baijiu to be so beautiful. I didn't expect that there is a big boss hidden around us. Li Qingshan and Su Baijiu seem to have a very good relationship. Now we have made a profit. With this look, if I had taken off the hat and veil earlier, I could have at least won a school beauty spot. I won't eat it now. If I had known this, I would have chosen to sit at the same table with Su Baijiu. I hate it. There are about 300 people in the class. Looking at the scene in front of him, a look of envy and jealousy flashed across his face. Martial arts universities' teaching resources are scarce. Therefore, the classroom is very large, usually 300 to 400 students per class. Breaking off the engagement isn't so insulting, right? What does it mean that a toad wants to eat swan meat? What's so shameless? Su Baijiu's tone was cold, but mixed with a bit of nobility. Mom and Dad, it's better to call off this engagement. I don't want to spend the rest of my life with a woman I don't like. Li Qingshan said. Now, if you get the golden finger, you will definitely be a successful person, and you still care about your fiancé. From now on, wait until you become stronger. What kind of woman are you looking for but can't find? When Li Tijun saw that his son also wanted to break off the engagement, he fell silent immediately, with a flash of confusion in his eyes. After all, this was his mother's original instruction to stay. That's all, my son's happiness is more important. Li Qingshan, it seems your parents still don't want to give up. Okay, let your parents see it today. The gap between you and me. From now on, we will no longer be people of the same world. 1 month later, it's the martial arts university freshman competition. Then you and I will have a fight. If I win, you are not allowed to bother me anymore from now on. How? Wang Qingche looked at Li Qingshan and asked. Oh, what if I win? Li Qingshan frowned slightly and asked. You won. Haha, you can't win. You have AD level warrior talent. How can you beat my S level warrior talent? If you win, how about I become your concubine, work hard and take care of your wife and confinement? There was a hint of disdain in Wang Qingche's eyes, like a proud little swan, staring at Li Qingshan. Being a concubine. After the words fell, Li Qingshan was slightly startled. He didn't expect Wang Qingche to say such words. But, Li Qingshan secretly relieved himself when he thought of Wang Qingche, a proud woman, kneeling down in front of him and letting him trample and ravage her. It's a deal. It's a deal. Witnessed by more than 300 people in a class and teachers, Li Qingshan and Wang Qingche reached a bet and left the campus immediately. Li Qingshan, do you want to take a leave today and go back with your parents first? Seeing this, the martial arts teacher asked. Thank you, teacher. Li Qingshan looked at the martial arts teacher in black on the podium and nodded. On the way home, Li Qingshan and his parents were silent until they returned to the low-cost house. Li Qingshan said, Mom and Dad, can you give me some pocket money? Good. Li Tijun nodded quickly, took out 500 yuan from his wallet and said, go out and have fun, have a good meal, and forget about this matter. If you lose in a month, you will lose, and there is no shame in it. Li Qingshan nodded, took the money and went straight to the meat wholesale market, and spent the 500 yuan Li Tijun gave him and his own money to buy pork that had been frozen for decades. A total of 20 kilograms, 50 yuan a kilogram. The reason why the price is so high is that ordinary people can only live in the city, which leads to a rapid decrease in the production of food and meat. In addition, warriors need to supplement their flesh and blood to increase their strength. This has also caused meat prices to skyrocket. If it were fresh pork, it would already cost 100 yuan per pound. Ever since the family became lonely and my parents lost their jobs. On weekdays, I can only go out to the city to do some hard work, otherwise why would I live in a low-cost house? 20 pounds of meat should be enough. After Li Qingshan returned home, his parents had already gone to work, so they put all the frozen meat in a basin to thaw. He took out the electric snake from his pocket. Although it is only as thick as chopsticks, it can be seen that it is extremely ferocious, its fangs are sharp, and its body is very strong. It can at least stalk and kill some mice, so there must be no big problem. Keep it up again. After it gets older, you can control it to go hunting, which saves money. An hour later, after thawing the pork that had been frozen for decades, he threw it in front of the electric snake. The alluring smell of meat hit him, and the electric snake squirmed and began to bite the pork in front of him. Electric arcs flashed around his body, and his teeth were very sharp. The most important thing was that after stuffing a large amount of flesh and blood into his belly, he didn't notice any bulging in his belly. It's really strange, where did all this food go? Swallow 1 pound of fleshy pork, electric snake's chi and blood +1, regurgitate chi and blood +1. Swallow 1 pound of fleshy pork, electric snake's chi and blood +1, regurgitate chi and blood +1. Swallow 2 pounds of flesh and blood pork, electric snake chi and blood +2, regurgitate chi and blood +2. Final. 20 pounds of pork increased Li Qingshan's energy and blood by 10 points, and the increase in energy and blood could be clearly felt in the sea of blood. Personal panel opens. Subject: Li Qingshan. Strength: Level 0 Warrior. Chi and blood: 10 out of 10 can be upgraded. Talent: D level. Already obtained the electric snake ability and thunder energy and blood talent. Avatar: Electric Snake. Strength: Level 0 Ferocious Beast. Chi and blood: 10 out of 10 can be upgraded. Talent: D level. The electric python can be evolved at level 10, and the evolution route has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, ancestral dragon. Click to upgrade. Subject: Li Qingshan successfully broke through and became a level 1 warrior. The clone electric snake successfully broke through and became a level 1 beast. 2 pieces of information flashed before his eyes, and Li Qingshan could clearly feel that the power of chi and blood in his body had become more abundant. When exerting force, he could even easily mobilize the chi and blood to the required position. Explodes more powerful force. Have you become a warrior now? Li Qingshan's face showed a look of excitement. The body of the electric snake, which was about 20 centimeters on the ground, began to grow visibly to the naked eye, becoming 25 centimeters. It's still early. Li Qingshan put the electric snake in his arms and rushed towards a local chicken farm. Zhongcheng No. 3 chicken farm happened to be the property of the Wang family. I didn't have so much money to buy flesh and blood. The chickens raised by the Wang family were suitable for feeding electric snakes to devour. The body of the electric snake is only 25 centimeters, the thickness of a chopstick, so it is extremely easy to sneak into a chicken farm without being discovered. In order to obtain more meat sources, all the chickens in the farm are raised in a row of cages. From birth to death, they may not have traveled more than 2 meters. This also facilitates hunting of electric snakes. Li Qingshan hid in a deserted place, his consciousness already immersed in the body of the electric snake, and quietly climbed into the chicken cage. A chicken discovered Li Qingshan. Start talking immediately. Crack. There was a crisp sound, and there was no damage on the smooth scales. After all, the electric snake was already a level 1 ferocious beast. How could it be so easily broken by a chicken? The body quickly wrapped around him. Discharge. Crack. The chicken entangled by the electric snake was paralyzed, fell to the ground and twitched, making no sound. Next, just bite the flesh and blood of this one with big mouthfuls. Electric snakes are different from other snakes. Other snakes rely on swallowing to eat, but electric snakes have sharp fangs that can tear chicken into pieces and swallow it in their mouths. The extreme hunger in the body is relieved. Swallow 1 5-pound broiler chicken, electric snake energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. A broiler chicken was devoured and gained 5 points of energy and blood. It takes 10 points of energy and blood to transform from an ordinary person to a level 1 warrior, and 20 points of energy and blood to go from a level 1 warrior to a level 2 warrior. In other words, 4 chickens can make you enter the level 2 warrior. Martial Arts University has just started. It is estimated that less than half of the warriors who have entered level 2 today are all very talented and rely on a large amount of elixirs and the flesh and blood of ferocious beasts to improve their strength. You only need 4 chickens. Cool, keep devouring. The electric snake's body wrapped around the next chicken, and the electric current in its body was suddenly released, instantly electrocuting the chicken and fainting. Then he started biting the flesh. Swallow 1 broiler chicken weighing 5 pounds, electric snake's energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. Swallow 1 5-pound broiler chicken, electric snake energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. Personal panel opens. Subject: Li Qingshan. Body length: 18 centimeters. Strength: Level 1 Warrior. Qi and Blood: 2020 can be upgraded. Talent: D level. Already obtained the electric snake ability and thunder energy and blood talent. Avatar: Electric snake. Body length: 25 centimeters. Strength: Level 1 Ferocious beast. Qi and Blood: 2020 can be upgraded. Talent: D level. The electric python can be evolved at level 10, and the evolution route has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, ancestral dragon. After successfully devouring the 4 broiler chickens, he gained 20 points of energy and blood. Li Qingshan clicked on the back to upgrade, and a large amount of mysterious experience quickly poured into the sea of blood in his body. The physical body is elevated. Li Qingshan can clearly feel that his physical strength has become stronger and his strength has become more terrifying. The qi and blood in the body are circulating, and there is even a faint sound of electric current flickering. This is the talent that comes from the electric snake. Thunder energy and blood. With 1 punch, in addition to energy and blood, there is also terrifying thunder power. The destructive power is astonishing and is better than any martial arts. Besides, the electric snake's body has also grown, successfully growing from 25 centimeters to 30 centimeters. The next upgrade will require 40 points of blood. After the electric snake's body grew, both its hunting and devouring speed were significantly improved compared to before. It wraps directly around the next chicken, releases the electric current, and after it passes out, it begins to devour the flesh and blood. Swallow 1 5-pound broiler chicken, electric snake energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. Swallow 1 5-pound broiler chicken, electric snake energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. The 8 broiler chickens were devoured, and with 40 points of energy and blood gained, Li Qingshan clicked on life again, and the electric snake's body length increased to 35 centimeters. The next upgrade will require 80 points of blood. Li Qingshan and electric snake have also become level 3 warriors and level 3 ferocious beasts. Swallow 1 broiler chicken weighing 5 pounds, electric snake's energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. Swallow 1 broiler chicken weighing 5 pounds, electric snake's energy and blood +5, feedback energy and blood +5. Consumption of 80 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 4 ferocious beast, level 4 warrior, electric snake body length 40 centimeters. Consumption of 160 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 5 ferocious beast, level 5 warrior, electric snake body length 45 centimeters. Consumption of 320 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 6 ferocious beast, level 6 warrior, electric snake body length 50 centimeters. Consumption of 640 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 7 ferocious beast, level 7 warrior, electric snake body length 55 centimeters. Consumption of 1280 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 8 ferocious beast, level 8 warrior, electric snake body length 60 centimeters. Consumption of 2560 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 9 ferocious beast, level 9 warrior, electric snake body length 65 centimeters. Consumption of 5120 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 10 ferocious beast, level 10 warrior, electric snake body length 70 centimeters. Li Qingshan ate a total of 2,000 chickens and about 10,000 kilograms of flesh and blood in the number 3 chicken farm, and then his strength was upgraded to a level 10 beast. The electric snake's body length has reached 70 centimeters. The scales are covered with lightning and thunder patterns, and arcs are released from time to time, with a terrifying aura. All the broilers in this chicken farm were devoured by him. Li Qingshan immediately controlled the electric snake and rushed towards the next chicken farm room. Before the chicken farm staff noticed it. If you can eat more, you should naturally eat more. The second chicken farm. After the body less than 1 meter got into the cage of the chicken farm, he continued to bite and devour it, but this time to upgrade to level 11 warrior, it required 10,000 points of energy and blood. Only after eating all the broilers in this chicken farm can you get enough blood and click to upgrade. Can evolve. Consumption of 1000 blood points, the electric snake starts to evolve. The evolution time is 10 minutes. Please find a suitable and safe place to start the evolution. After 30 minutes of countdown to the start of evolution, you can end the countdown to evolution early. Does evolution take 10 minutes? Li Qingshan was shocked and hurriedly controlled the electric snake to get out of the chicken farm and return to him. The little guy who was originally only 20 centimeters was now almost 1 meter tall. Click End countdown to end of evolution. Start to evolve. The next moment, the electric snake's body began to grow rapidly, becoming thicker and larger almost visibly to the naked eye, becoming more ferocious and terrifying. The lines on the body are also more conspicuous. 10 minutes later, the originally 70 centimeter electric snake has now successfully evolved to a length of 2 meters. If it were to stand upright, it would be taller than itself. A body as thick as a chopstick. Now, it has a thick wrist, a sturdy body, and has become a level 11 monster. Personal panel opens. Subject: Li Qingshan. Body length: 18 centimeters. Strength: level 11 warrior. Qi and blood: 0.20. Talent: sea level. Innate abilities: thunder electric blood, thunder hammer. Already obtained the electric python talent, thunder hammer. Avatar: electric python. Body length: 2 meters. Strength: level 11 ferocious beast. Qi and blood: 0.20. Talent: sea level. You can evolve into a thunder anaconda at level 21, and the evolution path has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, the ancestral dragon. The electric python is already 2 meters long, but its talent has reached sea level. In the next stage, it can evolve into a thunder anaconda, which makes Li Qingshan most excited. It should be that after the electric snake evolved into an electric python, he gained new talents. Hammer of Thunder. Previously, the innate ability that electric snake gave him in return was thunder and electricity blood. When he used his energy and blood to fight, his energy and blood contained the power of thunder and lightning. Now, the electric python feeds back his natural abilities. It's the Hammer of Thunder. This kind of natural ability is different from martial arts. It is self-taught and can be used directly. Qi and blood circulated in Li Qingshan's sea of blood. Zizizi. The next moment, then he saw a thunder hammer appearing in one hand. The whole body was azure, condensed by the power of thunder, exuding terrifying and destructive power. I just don't know how powerful this thunder hammer is. It's getting dark. Soon, Li Qingshan heard a panic in the chicken farm. Someone must have discovered that 4,000 broiler chickens were missing. It was obviously impossible to use the electric python to steal the chickens. The electric python's body is too big now. Once you get in, it will be easy to be discovered. It will not be a good idea to attract the attention of the Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau. After all, ferocious beasts are not allowed in the city. Li Qingshan put the electric python in his big backpack, and took a taxi to Honggu Lake. The lake was vast and there were a lot of fish and shrimps, so it was most suitable to put the electric python here. Not only do you not have to worry about eating and evolving, and it can serve as a good cover. In the future, you can also find a way to transport some flesh and blood for the electric python to devour and evolve. Place the electric python behind Honggu Lake. Li Qingshan hurried back home. His parents hadn't come back yet, so they must have worked overtime. Return to the room. Can't wait to change the perspective to the electric python, and start to control the electric python to hunt in the lake and devour flesh and blood. Although there are many fish in Honggu Lake, most of them are common carp, crucian carp, grass carp, loach and eel. Devoured in one night, he only devoured no more than 200 kilograms of flesh and blood to get 200 points of qi and blood. This was really a bit slow. It would be better to just buy pork and throw it to the electric python to devour it. But pork is expensive and price is a problem. He had to find a way to get some money. It was already getting dark outside. Li Qingshan found that his parents didn't come back last night, so he made a phone call. After hearing that my parents were working overtime, I felt relieved. Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. Yesterday, the incident between Li Qingshan and Wang Qingsha quickly spread among the freshmen of the Martial Arts University. After all, no one expected that the daughter of the Wang family, the school belle of Zhongcheng University, was already engaged. The engagement partner turned out to be an unknown person. Waste. D-level warrior talent. This kind of waste will never achieve anything in the future. The toad wants to eat swan meat. On this point, Li Qingshan was confirmed. Along the way, many people pointed at Li Qingshan, their faces full of sarcasm and gloating. Did you see that this is the famous toad of our Zhongcheng University? He actually wants to marry Wang Qingsha without taking APS to show off himself. Is this kid engaged to my goddess? Look at my strength as a third-level warrior, I won't kill this loser. There's no need for you to take action. Did you see someone coming? Isn't that Zhang Hao? I heard that when school first started, he drove a swift eagle chariot to pursue Wang Qingsha at the school gate, but was ruthlessly rejected. I'm afraid I'm here to trouble you, Li Qingsha. Now I'm going to see something good. I heard that Zhang Hao is already a 4th-level warrior, and he has an A-level warrior talent. When the students passing by saw this, they all became interested and looked at Li Qingshan and Zhang Hao. Are you Li Qingshan? Zhang Hao's burly body stood in front of Li Qingshan, and his whole body was exuding a strong and violent aura, which was full of danger, like a wild beast. Zhang Hao, a 4th-level warrior, Wang Qingsha's pursuer, with an A-level warrior talent, came to me because he was unhappy with me and thought I had tarnished Wang Qingsha. So, you want to beat me up? Is it right? Li Qingshan chuckled and looked at Zhang Hao in front of him and asked. You. Zhang Hao was slightly startled and looked at Li Qingshan in front of him in confusion. You want to ask why I know this, right? Li Qingshan glanced around and continued. My talent as a warrior is not good, but it does not mean that I am deaf. Let's have a fight. 1 million dragon coins. If you lose, give it to me. If I lose, I'll let you do whatever you want. How about that? 1 million. What? Zhang Hao looked at Li Qingshan in front of him and felt that he couldn't understand this guy's brain circuit. Fight or not, you're not going to have any money, are you? You're poor. Looking at Zhang Hao in front of him, Li Qingshan said impatiently. 1 million. Being able to buy 20,000 kilograms of pork is enough to upgrade your electric python to a higher level. Are you sure? There was a hint of coldness in Zhang Hao's eyes, and he stared at Li Qingshan in front of him. For a rich second generation like Zhang Hao, 1 million. It was still possible to get it out, but it was a bit of a stretch, but Zhang Hao didn't think Li Qingshan was his opponent, so this million was equivalent to a penny and he didn't have to spend it. And I can still teach the kid in front of me a lesson. At least, if this kid's legs were to be broken, Wang Qingsha would definitely look at him differently. Sure, stop talking nonsense, if you want to start quickly. Li Qingshan said impatiently. Good, there are 1 million anonymous dragon cards in this card. As long as you can beat me, the money in it is all yours. After Zhang Hao said this, he couldn't wait to take out a dragon card from his pocket, threw it in front of Li Qingshan, and said with a cold look in his eyes. Is this going to start a fight? Is this guy Li Qingshan crazy? He still dares to fight Zhang Hao. Doesn't he know that Zhang Hao is now a 4th-level warrior? It's just a road to death. Zhang Hao, break this kid's legs and get him out of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. We don't welcome toads. The surrounding students became interested and shouted. Boy, pay attention. Zhang Hao's blood was boiling. What happened yesterday made him unhappy all day long, and he could finally vent his anger today. You're the loser, also worthy of being Wang Qingsha's fiancé. Die for me, young master. Bah! As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Hao punched Li Qingshan fiercely. The energy and blood surged in the blood sea in his dantian. Li Qingshan stood with his hands behind his back. Without making any movement, he watched helplessly as Zhang Hao punched him, with an indifferent sneer at the corner of his mouth. Rubbish! Bang! The next moment, a punch was blasted out, and only a dull sound was heard. Zhang Hao's body flew backwards, like a kite with a broken string, and landed heavily on the ground, stirring up dust on the ground. My throat felt sweet, and a mouthful of old blood spurted out. Defeat. Quiet. The scene suddenly fell silent, and everyone looked at the scene in front of them in shock, unable to believe that what they saw before them was real. Zhang Hao, with was he defeated like this? Isn't it? Zhang Hao is a 4th level warrior. Moreover, on weekdays, there are also some elixirs and potions for quenching the body's qi, blood and body supplied by the family. With A-level talents, he can break into the 4th level warrior. This is Li Qingshan. Although he comes from a poor family, he still has a D-level talent. Why is he Zhang Hao's opponent? This moment, not only were the students around him confused, but even Zhang Hao was a little confused. No, what just happened? Why did my body suddenly fly out? This guy's strength seems a bit weird. Li Qingshan just used the simplest energy and blood, not even the power of thunder and electricity blood. Pick up a dragon card worth 1 million on the ground. From a high position, he looked at Zhang Hao and said, "Young man, are you not convinced? One more fight. You lost 2 million. If I lose, how about getting out of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University and allowing you to use weapons?" Bad boy. Are weapons allowed? Li Qingshan, you are so arrogant. Zhang Hao gritted his teeth and got up from the ground, poured a healing potion into his mouth, and immediately said, "Are you sure I can use weapons?" That's right. Li Qingshan nodded and said, "Okay, this is what you said." After Zhang Hao finished speaking, he immediately took out an alloy long knife from the bag next to him, and said with a bit of pride in his tone, "A great alloy long knife, this was made for me by my father after I was admitted to the martial arts university. It can cut you like this. Kill the pig. Say it." He took out a dragon card with a limit of 2 million from his arms. This was Zhang Hao's last dragon card. He threw it directly on the ground next to him and said, "Watch the move." Is Li Qingshan crazy? He wants to fight Zhang Hao with his bare hands and an alloy sword. If you are not careful, you can split Li Qingshan alive. This kid is a bit arrogant. With the alloy long sword in hand, it can easily kill warriors by leapfrogging levels, not to mention it is an A-grade alloy long sword. Li Qingshan is a bit overconfident. Seeing this, the surrounding students spoke one after another. Everyone has expected Li Qingshan's fate, and I'm afraid it won't be too good. After all, Zhang Hao is currently angry. Even if Li Qingshan is killed on the spot, there is no harm. After all, the Zhang family is somewhat powerful, and Li Qingshan is a child from a poor family. If you die, just die. Whoa, a sound broke through the air, and Zhang Hao's A-grade alloy sword was already heading towards Li Qingshan. There was a roar in the air. This alloy long knife is really a waste for you to use. Looking at Zhang Hao who was charging toward him, a look of disdain flashed in Li Qingshan's eyes. Slow. In my eyes, Zhang Hao's current movements are really a bit slow. The body moved slightly, dodging the slash of the alloy sword. Punch out. Bang. There was another dull sound, and the alloy long knife in Zhang Hao's hand was snatched directly from Li Qingshan's hand, and his body flew out directly. Like a cannonball being discharged. The body fell heavily to the ground, stirring up dust all over the ground, but this time Zhang Hao did not have such good luck. Passed out. Everyone was shocked, their expressions changed drastically, and they all looked at Li Qingshan exaggeratedly. No, won again. That was a 4th level warrior, and he was equipped with an alloy sword. Even if this guy is hiding his secrets, it's a bit exaggerated, right? What a waste. Li Qingshan snorted coldly, picked up the dragon card, and quietly hid the alloy long knife behind his back with one hand and said, "Every one of the freshmen at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University is a waste. You losers, spread the word to me. If you are not convinced, you can come to our class to challenge me. But, challenge 1 million at a time. As long as I lose, get out of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University immediately." Arrogant. It's really arrogant. The surrounding students were all shocked when they heard Li Qingshan's arrogant words. Is this guy crazy? Planning to go against the entire freshman class? Although Zhang Hao is powerful, he is not the strongest. If a few perverts among our freshmen hear this, why don't they come and kill him? Big news, really big news today. Li Qingshan didn't even bother to ask for leave and went straight out of the school gate and straight to the wholesale market. As for Li Qingshan's arrogant scene in the school today, it is within the freshman class. It instantly caused an uproar, and many people were very unhappy with Li Qingshan's arrogant behavior. There are vaguely a few geniuses. He went directly to Li Qingshan's class to look for trouble, only to find that Li Qingshan was not in school. Is Li Qingshan scared? After all, Everyone wants to beat him to death for saying such arrogant words. If you weren't afraid, could you run? I'm afraid we have to wait until the school leaders mediate and apologize in public. Otherwise, the geniuses in our class will never let this kid go. That's right, tarnishing Wang Qingxia has already made many people unhappy, but now you dare to say such words, you are simply looking for death. Many students spoke one after another. Although Li Qingxian's engagement was broken off by Wang Qingxia, everyone was still unhappy. Because Li Qingxian actually has a deskmate like Su Baijiu. Grass. Why is this kid so lucky? Boss, this is an A-grade alloy long knife. Your price is a bit unfair. Li Qingxian said. 3 million is the most. If you don't want to, forget it. Boss Tang from the weapons store said firmly. Final. Li Qingxian came out with 3.5 million dragon cards, plus the 3 million dragon cards he had on him, for a total of 6.5 million. Get rich overnight. No, I got rich overnight. Not a buddy. 6.5 million yuan worth of frozen pork, are you serious? The boss of the frozen goods wholesale shop was stunned and looked at Li Qingxian in disbelief. This is a deposit of 3 million dragon cards. Please help me put it all in a warehouse. Li Qingxian handed 3 million dragon cards to the frozen goods wholesale boss in front of him and said. Just started. The frozen goods wholesale boss still couldn't believe it, but after seeing that Li Qingxian really spent so much money, he started working immediately. Less than 2 hours, 130,000 kilograms of frozen pork were all placed in a warehouse. Li Qingxian directly turned off the freezer. In this weather, the frozen meat would probably melt soon. In fact, it doesn't matter if it doesn't melt away. For a monster like the electric python, it's like eating a popsicle, its teeth are very sharp. Li Qingxian paid all the remaining balance. Then he took the electric python back from Honggu Lake and put it directly into the warehouse. He told the boss that no one was allowed to get close to him, and then he left the warehouse. Looking at a total of 130,000 kilograms of flesh and blood. The electric python went completely crazy. Crack, click, click. A series of crisp sounds sounded, and a large amount of flesh and blood was filled into the abdomen, impacting the hunger of the physical body. 130,000 kilograms seems like a lot. In fact, 2 bedrooms can probably be filled completely. Swallow 1 pound of fleshy pork, electric snake's chi and blood +1, regurgitate chi and blood +1. Swallow 10 pounds of flesh and blood pork, electric snake chi and blood +10, feedback chi and blood +10. Swallow 199 pounds of flesh and blood pork, electric snake chi and blood +199, feedback chi and blood +199. Listening to the system voice that kept ringing in his mind, Li Qingxian had already returned to the school class at this moment, and it was almost time for lunch. Teacher, I fainted in the toilet and just woke up. Seeing that the head teacher in black silk stockings was taking over the class, Li Qingxian casually found an excuse. Fainted in the toilet. Classmate Li Qingxian, this is the worst reason I have ever heard in my life. Go back. The head teacher Li Qianya looked at Li Qingxian up and down. The buttons of his white shirt were very bulging. She was considered an extremely thoughtful woman. She has a slim figure, especially a pair of black silk stockings. The slender long legs are highlighted to the fullest, and they are longer than their own lives. Thank you, teacher. Li Qingxian returned to his seat under the gaze of everyone in the class. Li Qingxian, were you crazy in school this morning? Not long after I sat down. The voice of Su Beizu, the classmate at the same table, came over and said, do you know how many people in school want to teach you a lesson? It couldn't be better. Come on one, I'll beat one. Come on a pair, I'll beat a pair. Li Qingxian smiled. 1 person is 1 million, 2 people are 2 million. It's best to challenge yourself with a dozen or so. Wouldn't it be more than 10 million dragon coins? His clone electric python also has more flesh and blood to upgrade and evolve. Hopeless. Su Beizu frowned slightly and said immediately, try not to leave the classroom before school. If someone comes to trouble you, I will help you stop them. What should I do if I need to go to the bathroom? Hold it. Get out of class is over. After Li Qianya said this, the students in the class all looked at Li Qingxian. Next, I'm afraid a good show is about to take place. Really. After class, many people got the news that Li Qingxian had returned to school and began to spread the news. Consumption of 20,000 blood points, successfully upgraded to level 12 warrior, level 12 ferocious beast. Li Qingshan felt that within the sea of blood in his body's dantian, the terrifying power of blood was brewing, further improving his flesh, blood, bones, and internal organs. Level 12 warrior. He became stronger. Da da da. Just then, suddenly there was a sound of hurried footsteps outside the door. It seemed that many people were rushing over, led by a man in a white suit. Han Bin, a freshman at Zhongcheng University, he is also a talented student among this freshman. S-level talent. Now, just a few days after school started, with the help of his family, he has become a level 6 warrior. In terms of strength, talent, and family resources, they are among the best in Zhongcheng University. Even in the school, I gained countless fans. Is it Han Bin, the 6th level warrior among the freshmen? This time, Li Qingshan is in dire straits. Oh my god, Han Bin is so handsome and elegant. This kid Li Qingshan was too arrogant this morning. He must be taught a lesson personally. Don't you even know how to be humble? Arrogant people will not end well. All of a sudden, in Li Qingshan's class, many students spoke one after another. Whose name is Li Qingshan? After Han Bin, wearing a white suit, walked in, he glanced at the class with a pair of arrogant eyes, his face full of disdain. Brother pretending to be B, are you going to challenge me? Li Qingshan slowly stood up from the chair and looked at Han Bin. Pretending to be brother B. What the hell are you pretending to be? After the words fell, everyone looked at Han Bin. Really? Han Bin's face suddenly turned red, his mouth twitched slightly, and he gritted his teeth and said, Li Qingshan, you are really a bit arrogant. This is 1 million dragon cards. How about a fight? Okay, brother B. Li Qingshan was overjoyed when he saw this, and he agreed directly without waiting for Su Beizu next to him to stop him. Li Qingshan, pretending that brother B is a level 6 warrior, are you crazy? Su Beizu looked at Han Bin with a displeased tone and said, get out. Han Bin was slightly startled by the sound of rolling. If anyone else had been beaten up by him, it was a pity that this woman was the daughter of the Su family. Han Bin really didn't dare to offend. Li Qingshan, do you really like being behind women so much? Han Bin snorted coldly. Not necessarily, sometimes I like to be underneath a woman. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, he patted Su Beizu on the shoulder and said, don't worry, little lady, watch me beat up brother B. Walk out of the classroom in front of everyone. Not forgetting to glance up and down at Han Bin's outfit, he said, wearing a suit in the summer, if you're not pretending to be B brother, who is pretending to be B brother? Li Qingshan, you are looking for death. The anger on Lin Bin's face became even more intense, and the energy and blood all over his body suddenly burst out, and the strong evil energy swept towards the surroundings, which was extremely frightening. The heavy sense of oppression made the surrounding freshmen stunned. Is this a 6th level warrior? What a strong breath. Li Qingshan looked at Lin Bin in front of him up and down, and thought to himself, now, 1 million is not enough for me. I have to make more money. These rich second-generation families have very rich families, especially these are geniuses, and their families are equipped with a lot of money and resources. So, when you kill Lin Bin for the first time, you can't make him too desperate. You have to scratch his itch and think that you were careless just now. It will definitely be fine if you try again. In this way, you can collect another million, that is, 2 million. Thinking of this, Li Qingshan nodded with satisfaction, and Su Beizu also controlled the electric wheelchair and walked out. Looking at Li Qingshan and Han Bin who were confronting each other, a look of worry flashed in their eyes. On the rooftop of a teaching building. Li Qianya, this student of yours is very arrogant. How dare a D-level talent say such arrogant words? Beside Zhao Qianya, there is a girl wearing short shorts, revealing her long fair legs, high ponytail, and a pair of sneakers, giving her a girlish vibe. Zhao Qianya, who is wearing black stockings and high heels on one side, has completely different styles. This morning, Li Qingshan defeated a 5th-level warrior. Zhao Qianya looked at Li Qingshan at the door of the classroom and said in a solemn tone, I want to see what kind of strength this kid has. Could it be that you hid your strength before just to cheat these second-generation dragon coins? Pit dragon coins. It's really possible. Isn't this guy from a poor family? Han Yunyan on Zhao Qianya's side said. I suspect that this kid may have the strength of a 7th level warrior, otherwise he would not dare to fight Han Bin. Well, that's my guess too. Zhao Qianya also nodded. Li Qingshan, watch your move. Han Bin scolded angrily, and then rushed towards Li Qingshan wearing a white suit. He was full of energy, and there was a roaring sound in the air. Everyone's breath froze. He stared nervously at the battle in front of him. Tian. The next moment, Li Qingshan also moved, leaving an afterimage of his body on the spot. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Han Bin. A punch came out, hitting Han Bin's chest. A dull sound sounded, and Han Bin's body flew backwards, almost the same as Zhang Hao in the morning. The body landed heavily on the concrete floor, making a dull sound. There was a heavy feeling in the chest. He was obviously out of breath and his face was pale. When everyone saw this, their expressions suddenly changed, and they all looked at Li Qingshan, full of shock and disbelief. What kind of strength does this guy have? All of a sudden, the way everyone looked at Li Qingshan gradually changed. If it is this time, he also said that Li Qingshan is a waste, not even a warrior, then everyone will be furious. We are not blind. Is this guy hiding his strength a bit too much? It doesn't matter if he can defeat a 5th level warrior, but now he's no match for even a 6th level warrior. This. Su Beizu looked at Li Qingshan's instant burst of energy and blood, and was slightly startled, with a flash of surprise in his eyes. Isn't this guy just a waste with D-level warrior talent? How can it be so strong? On the rooftop, even Zhao Qianya and Han Yunyan were slightly startled, looked at each other and said, this guy seems a bit unexpected. He is actually a 7th level warrior. That's right. The energy and blood power that Li Qingshan just burst out fell into the eyes of Han Yunyan and Zhao Qianya, and they could accurately judge Li Qingshan's strength. 7th level warrior. But these freshmen couldn't tell. They all stared at Li Qingshan with confused expressions, their eyes full of confusion and confusion. These million dragon cards are mine now. Li Qingshan's face showed a touch of excitement. He picked up the dragon cards from the ground, then looked at Han Bin again and said, brother pretending to be B, do you still want to fight? I'm not convinced. Han Bin looked at his former little crushes, all of whom were staring at him with doubts on their faces, and the desire to win in his heart suddenly rose. Moreover, Han Bin could feel it just now. The Li Qingshan in front of him is not invincible. It's just that this guy made a sneak attack, coupled with his lack of preparation and some underestimation of the enemy, that's why he is like this. 2 million dragon coins, the second game. I lost. Get out of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, you lost, 2 million dragon coins. How? Li Qingshan said. Okay, 2 million dragon coins is 2 million dragon coins. At this moment, Han Bin was so angry that he couldn't care about that. He took out a dragon coin card from his arms and said, there are 2 million dragon coins in it. There is no password. Say it. Throwing it on the ground casually, a glint flashed in Li Qingshan's eyes. The next moment, chi and blood burst out. An afterimage was left on the spot, and when it appeared again, it was already in front of Han Bin. Bang! Everyone saw Han Bin's body flying backwards and landing on the cement pillar behind, making a dull sound, and even the cement pillar shook slightly. Han Bin felt the impact coming from behind and couldn't help but let out a low curse. Then his body fell heavily to the ground. He felt that his energy and blood were disordered, his facial features were upside down, and he felt very uncomfortable. The eyes looking at Li Qingshan were also filled with resentment. In the second game, Han Bin lost again. Boy, what kind of strength are you? Han Bin stared at Li Qingshan in front of him and asked. A 7th level warrior is slightly higher than you. Li Qingshan sneered and continued. I'm sorry, in fact, I have been practicing martial arts since high school. Although my family was in decline, it was still wealthy at the beginning. There happened to be a very good pill left behind, which allowed me to continue to work hard. Breaking through the realm and becoming a 7th level warrior, it was really hard to hide my strength, but now it is finally put to use. Han Bin, I know you are not convinced. Even a man is not convinced. If I give you another chance, I can allow you to use alloy weapons or even armor to attack me, but this time the bet is 3 million dragon coins. How? Li Qingshan's mouth revealed a fisherman's evil smile, staring at Han Bin in front of him and said. A 6th level warrior can use an A-level alloy weapon, which is enough to kill a 7th level warrior. After all, There is a big difference between having an alloy weapon in hand and not having one. Alloy weapons are divided from inferior to stronger. D, C, B, A, S, SS, SSS. A-grade alloy weapons start at a price of about 3 million. Unless they are members of a family, ordinary people cannot afford them. If not for Han Bin's talent, this alloy long knife will not be equipped for Han Bin. I don't have the 3 million dragon coins, but as long as you win, the set of alloy weapons I have will be yours. The next moment, Han Bin took out an A-grade alloy long knife and a black shield, which were also made of A-grade alloy. A sword and a shield. The shield is about the size of a hat and can be buckled on the arm without the need to hold it up with hands, which gives the warrior great ease of movement. An alloy long knife is worth about 3 million dragon coins. The alloy shield is worth about 2 million dragon coins. Total, 3 million dragon coins. If the other guy is Han Bin, the 3 million dragon coins he lost to him is 8 million dragon coins. It has to be said that the heirs of relatives are really rich. Oh, is this what you said? Li Qingshan felt happy, stretched out his fingers towards Han Bin in front of him and said, "Go ahead, pretend to be B, I can't hold it in anymore." Pretending to be Brother B. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, Han Bin finally couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. He held a great alloy sword and shield and killed Li Qingshan. The strong energy and blood power swept around. Murderous. The long alloy knife exuded a cold light, and if it was hit by accident, it would inevitably separate flesh and blood. I didn't expect that this guy Li Qingshan would break through to the 7th level of warrior. It's just relying on our ancestor Mengin. Now that the ancestors' elixirs have been used up, and I have AD level talent as a warrior, it won't take long for us to catch up. That's right, it won't take long for us to catch up. This boy Li Qingshan just played with Han Bin like this. Now Han Bin is probably murderous. Han Bin may not let this boy go next. A-grade alloy long knife combined with alloy shield is really difficult to kill. It's too simple. Once Li Qingshan is defeated, he will have to drop out of school. There is no such systematic teaching outside school. From now on, he can only become the lowest martial artist and linger in society. At noon, the classmates saw this and started talking about it. Bang! The next moment, a dull voice sounded, and Li Qingshan punched the alloy shield, causing terrifying aftermath to sweep around. The alloy shield only shook slightly, but there was no damage at all. It is indeed an A-grade alloy shield. Really strong. At this time, Han Bin's A-grade alloy long knife took advantage of this gap and stabbed Li Qingshan at an extremely fast speed. Freshmen like Li Qingshan have not experienced systematic teaching, nor have they started practicing moves. They have no idea how to effectively avoid the attack of a long knife. Extremely easy to get caught. However, Li Qingshan is a level 12 warrior. Although the current burst of energy and blood is only a level 7 warrior, his reaction ability is still that of a level 12 warrior. There was a flash of disdain in his eyes. The punch just now was just because I wanted to test my strength. The alloy shield is indeed powerful. However, if I use the power of lightning and blood, I don't know if this alloy shield can withstand it. The body left an afterimage in place. Easily dodging the attack of the A-grade alloy sword, he had already circled to Han Bin's side and punched out. Not good. Looking at the strange punch, Han Bin was slightly startled. He had no time to react before he was hit by Li Qingshan's punch. There was a sharp pain in his chest and his whole body flew backwards. It landed heavily on the ground and didn't even forget to slide away several meters. After falling to the ground and vomiting a few mouthfuls of old blood, he passed out immediately. A-grade alloy sword, A-grade alloy shield. Got it. Li Qingshan excitedly picked up 2 alloy weapons, turned around and pushed Su Beizu towards the classroom, not forgetting to show off. Well, I'll say it's no problem. Su Beizu in the wheelchair looked at the calm Li Qingshan, a complicated look flashed in his eyes. Is this guy really a 7th level warrior? I'm going to lose, isn't it? How can this guy Li Qingshan do it? That's an A-grade alloy sword and an A-grade alloy shield. Can the money-making players not be able to compete with civilian players? Is the world a little crazy? I'm on my knees. Is this kid really a 7th level warrior? Why do I not believe it? Yeah, this guy is hiding his strength, right? The surrounding students spoke one after another, and there was a lot of noise and various voices. Li Qingshan, who walked to the door of the classroom, did not forget to turn around and said, I, Li Qingshan, said that the freshmen of Zhongcheng Martial Arts University are trash, and I have stepped on them all. I don't accept it. Come fight. Say it. Amidst the sudden boiling sound behind him, Su Baijiu was pushed back to his seat. In martial arts universities, it is normal for students to compete and fight. As long as both parties agree to the competition and no one is killed, there will be no punishment. After the school doctor arrived, they directly took the unconscious Han Bin away and provided emergency treatment. As for the classmates and teachers on campus, they felt sparse and normal. This kind of thing happens every day in martial arts university. You are such a well-hidden student. That kind of reaction ability is obviously not something that a 7th level warrior can possess. Han Yunyan looked at Li Qingshan, who returned to the classroom, and said, It's just a pity, D-level warrior talent. At most, it is just a trick for the new students when they first enter school. When everyone gradually enters the path of cultivation, he will be quickly pulled down due to qualification issues. Zhao Qianya stepped on a pair of high heels, her long and straight legs wrapped in stockings, and said, Then there's no need to pay too much attention. Afternoon. The arrogant remarks about Li Qingshan instantly spread among the entire freshmen. Everyone thought that Li Qingshan was crazy and was going against all the freshmen. Although Han Bin is strong, but it is not the to existence of the freshmen. The real to existence is the real terrifying existence summoned by those 3 people. I heard that martial arts training has been started since childhood. Whether it is martial arts or realm, it has become an unknown and terrifying place. It is used to impact the future and take the joint entrance exam for freshmen from 100 schools. Also known as Zhongcheng was reborn to the 3 great demon kings. Although Li Qingshan defeated Han Bin, not many people envied or admired him. This guy only relied on the elixirs left by his ancestor Mengin. Now that the elixirs have been exhausted, his strength has been finalized. With his talent as a D-level warrior, he will only be able to be at the bottom of the list in the future. That is to say, jumping around at the beginning of the freshman year. Soon, just like the grasshopper after autumn, it is impossible to jump up again. The teacher who came to substitute in the afternoon was Zhao Qianya. That pair of smooth silk stockings caught Li Qingshan's attention. He rarely saw such beautiful legs in his previous life. The royal sister is full of style. Li Qingshan glanced at the back of Zhao Qianya's legs, and then at the legs of Su Beizu next to him. Well, each has his own merits. The legs of Subai porridge look soft and fragrant. What are you looking at? Su Baijiu felt Li Qingshan's gaze and said in a cold tone. Oh, Su Beizu, why is your leg lame? Is it congenital, or is it caused by the day after tomorrow? Li Qingshan said, It wasn't like this when he was born. He gradually lost his ability after the age of 3. Su Beizu said in a cold tone, Are you still watching? To take a look is to peek, but to keep looking is to respect. Li Qingshan stared at Su Beizu's legs and said, It's so white, oh, what a pity. What do you regret? What did the doctor say? The doctor doesn't know. It may be a muscle problem, a meridian problem, or a bone problem. Everyone's explanation is different. Anyway, none of them are useful. Su Beizu said with a hint of deepness in his tone. If you touch it now, will you feel it? Li Qingshan asked curiously. I don't feel it, Su Beizu said. It feels like it's a neurological problem. Some doctors also say so, but the accompanying treatments are of little use. All right. Li Qingshan looked at it a few more times before finally focusing on Zhao Qianya's stockinged legs. Seeing the look in his deskmate's eyes, Su Beizu glanced at Zhao Qianya's legs, with a look of displeasure in his eyes, and silently reached out and pinched Li Qingshan's flesh hard. Unfortunately, Li Qingshan, who had become a level 12 warrior, didn't care. Su Beizu could only grit his teeth when he saw this. After one class, I changed to a substitute teacher, and this class is about alloy weapons, such as how to classify them, and general information such as battle armor. I have no legs to watch this class. Li Qingshan turned his attention to Su Beizu's legs again. Don't feel it. Li Qingshan quietly placed a hand on Su Beizu's thigh. Soft, so white. The next moment, Li Qingshan met Su Beizu's cold and murderous eyes, and whispered like the god of death, I can't feel my calves, not my thighs. Oh, sorry. Li Qingshan was slightly startled, then quickly picked up his hand and placed it on Su Beizu's calf. If looks could kill, Su Beizu felt that his eyes had killed Li Qingshan hundreds of times. Not feeling it, Li Qingshan quietly circulated the lightning blood and landed on Su Beizu's calf. Su Beizu groaned suddenly and his calves trembled slightly. Then he looked at Li Qingshan with shock and confusion, and his eyes were a little more surprised. Shua. However, the next moment, the students in the class, including the female teacher on the podium, all looked at Li Qingshan and Su Beizu. No. What was that sound just now? Moan, are you still in class now? What are you two doing behind the scenes? Why are there so many singles in the class? Pairs of jealous eyes shot towards Li Qingshan. Su Beizu also realized what he had just done. A blush rose on his face. Now, it is self-explanatory, how could everyone not know what happened? Why are so many cabbages eaten by pigs? Wangqing tea at first, subai porridge now. Dear students, please note that it is class time now. If you need anything, please wait until get out of class is over. Now let's talk about the use of armor and the increase of warriors. The female teacher on the podium looked at Su Beizu meaningfully and said. Order continued to be restored in the classroom. Li Qingshan looked at Su Beizu and said, you didn't feel anything just now, did you? Su Beizu nodded solemnly and said curiously, it's strange, I don't have any feeling in my calf. Why does it feel when you touch it? I can clearly feel someone touching me. You try again. Really? Li Qingshan raised a smile at the corner of his mouth, stared at Su Beizu in front of him and asked. Hurry up. The blush on Su Beizu's face became even stronger, and he nodded. Qi and blood circulate in the Dantian blood sea. A hand covered with the power of thunder and lightning slowly touched Su Beizu's fair and slender calf. Su Beizu gritted his teeth, but couldn't help but moan softly again. All the students in the class looked at Li Qingshan again. The substitute teacher's eyes were filled with displeasure, and Li Qingshan quickly retracted his hand. The eyes of other students in the class were all directed at Li Qingshan again, wanting to kill Li Qingshan on the spot. Li Qingshan, do you have time after school? Seeing this, Su Beizu didn't dare to let Li Qingshan touch him again, so he asked. No. Li Qingshan shook his head and said. I just got 2 alloy weapons and 3 million dragon coins. I plan to buy some flesh and blood at night to feed my electric python. After school, I really don't have time. Eating a pound of pork, the electric python's chi and blood +1, feeding back chi and blood +1. Eating 10 pounds of pork, the electric python's energy and blood +10, feeding back energy and blood +10. Eating 100 pounds of pork, the electric python's chi and blood +100, feeding back chi and blood +100. Close the panel that only you can see. His electric python is still devouring more than half of the 130,000 kilograms of pork, and it will eat up hundreds of thousands more kilograms just after it is completely devoured. This guy is really enjoying himself. He had accumulated more than 100,000 chi and blood, which was enough to upgrade, so he quietly clicked the upgrade button. Successfully consumed 20,000 energy and blood. The main body was upgraded to a level 13 warrior, and the clone was upgraded to a level 13 ferocious beast. Successfully consumed 40,000 energy and blood. The main body was upgraded to a level 14 warrior, and the clone was upgraded to a level 14 ferocious beast. Li Qingshan could clearly feel the growth of chi and blood in the blood sea in his dantian, and successfully advanced to become a level 14 warrior. The vicious electric python also successfully advanced to become a level 14 beast. In addition, it is the body of the thunder python. It has successfully grown to a length of 3.5 meters, and will grow by half a meter each time it is upgraded. By the time it reaches level 20, the length may reach about 7 meters. When Su Beizu heard that Li Qingshan had no time, a flash of disappointment flashed across his face and he simply said, oh. Although I don't have time after school, I still have time after 11 p.m. After thinking for a while, Li Qingshan said. The words fell. Then he met Su Beizu's suspicious eyes, and Li Qingshan immediately said, I really only have time after 11 o'clock. Oh well, can you come to my house after 11 o'clock? I don't know why, I felt something when you touched my calf. Su Beizu gritted his teeth and said, "Are you inviting me to your house in the middle of the night?" "Of course." Li Qingshan nodded solemnly and said, "Got something to eat tonight? I'll send the address to your mobile phone." After Su Beizu said that, he sent his current address to Li Qingshan. After school, Su Baijiu pushed the wheelchair out of the school, quickly got into a car, and disappeared from the campus. Li Qingshan hurried towards the weapons mall. The boss looked at the A-grade alloy sword and alloy shield that Li Qingshan brought, frowned slightly and said, "You guys didn't get these things by killing people and grabbing treasures, right?" "Of course not, what a joke. I won the bet. Both of these too, 5 million is not a big problem, right?" "What, you want to buy 8 million worth of frozen pork?" "It's a discount, no problem. If the quantity is large, it's 10% off at most. The profit on this thing is very small." "Okay, let's send it to that warehouse, right?" Li Qingshan first asked the electric python to hide it, and then asked the boss to send all 8 million pork, which was about 180,000 kilograms of frozen pork, to the warehouse. In the end, Li Qingshan asked his boss to get it together. Normal people don't have this discount. A total of 180,000 kilograms of frozen pork is enough to provide oneself with 180,000 qi and blood points. 180,000 jins, that is, 180 tons. Li Qingshan took a look at his electric python. The muscles all over his body were ferocious, covered with blue lines, and flashed with electric arcs from time to time. It would be nice if it had the flesh and blood of a ferocious beast. Pork, such as ordinary poultry, adds too little qi and blood. I heard about it a few days ago. Several more ferocious beasts appeared in Zhongcheng, wreaking havoc everywhere. The entire Zhongcheng Fierce Beast Management Bureau was working overtime to find these ferocious beasts. If his electric python is discovered, you don't want to be thought of as one of the ferocious beasts, so you still have to hide it, at least until you have the ability to protect yourself. You still have to keep a low profile as much as possible. After finishing the work at hand, it was already past 9 o'clock in the evening, and Li Qingshan took a car to the outside of Su Beizu's community. In the high-end villa area, security guards are not allowed to enter. I had no choice but to call Su Beizu, and then she was led in by her servant. In the fragrant boudoir, Su Beizu was studying information about martial arts. Because his legs were limited, Su Beizu could hardly take the martial arts path, but he went to the martial arts university because he wanted to take another path. Martial arts analyst. Regarding the factors that make warriors powerful, there are mainly several reasons. The strength of the warrior himself. The warrior's alloy weapon and battle armor. The martial arts of a warrior. Fighting by warriors is usually a physical fight, just like the ancient knights, except that the speed is faster and the combat power is more explosive. However, everyone has their own tricks. Martial arts are like ancient martial arts secrets. Martial arts analysts customize and improve suitable martial arts according to each person's different situations. This line of work requires extremely strong talent. "Miss, we're here," the maid said respectfully. "Get out." When Su Beizu saw Li Qingshan, he felt happy and hurriedly urged the maid to leave. "Yes, miss." The maid nodded solemnly, backed out, took out her mobile phone and made a call. Magic City. A meteor fighter jet quickly took off and headed for Zhongcheng. "Su Baijiu, this is your home. Rich people are so kind." Li Qingshan looked at Su Beizu's room, a look of envy flashed across his face. It was impossible not to say he was envious. They were all famous brands. "Then you have to work hard to become a rich man," Su Beizu said. "That's all. I'm just a waste with AD-level warrior talent. The biggest person I can come into contact with in this life may be you. If you don't think about it so much, just live an ordinary life in this life." Li Qingshan said. "Why, do you still remember what happened in your previous lives?" Su Beizu controlled the wheelchair to move over, lifted the blanket covering his legs and said, Will you try again?" "Good." Li Qingshan nodded. He was also a little curious about what kind of changes his thunder and lightning power could bring to Su Beizu. Thunder power. In the entire history of human warriors, it has never appeared before. Qi and blood are qi and blood. If you want qi and blood to have the power of other attributes, such as fire, ice, and thunder, you need to practice martial arts and exercises. Only then can various powers with different attributes be erupted, similar to Li Qingshan's, whose qi and blood directly contain the power of thunder and lightning. Li Qingshan is the only one. It is also the purest lightning power. Using the power of lightning and blood in his body, a hand fell on Su Beizu's calf. Su Beizu groaned softly, then bit his lip and said, I can feel the temperature and touch of your hand, it's just a little tingling, stop on it, don't move. The words fell. Su Baijiu grabbed Li Qingshan's wrist and let it stay on it, and the blush on his face became more and more intense. Aha! A series of soft moaning sounds kept ringing in the room, and Li Qingshan's thunder and lightning power kept falling on Su Beizu's calf. As long as the power of his own thunder and lightning expands, the area that Su Baijiu can feel will increase. If the power of his own thunder and lightning decreases, the area that Su Baijiu can feel will decrease. An hour later, Li Qingshan probably understood this rule. He increased the power of lightning in his hand and directly wrapped it around Su Beizu's entire slender calf. He said, stand up and give it a try. Chapter 11. Stand up. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, Su Beizu looked at Li Qingshan with a surprised look on his face and said, is it possible? Try it, otherwise how would you know? Li Qingshan said. Su Beizu gritted his teeth and made up his mind. Feeling the sensation coming from his legs, he slowly exerted force, trying to stand up from the wheelchair, but Su Baijiu had not used his legs for a long time, and at this moment, he actually forgot how to exert force. I tried to stand up from the wheelchair several times without success. But, however, Su Beizu could clearly feel that he seemed to have regained control of his legs. A pair of beautiful eyes showed excitement and excitement. As long as you try more, it will definitely work. Lady, the servant of the Su family greeted Su Beizu's mother with a respectful look. Where's Su Bai porridge? Su Beizu's mother Wang Chunyu said. Now, Han Chunyu is wearing a black suspender dress, which wraps her plump figure. She has a graceful temperament, especially her tall breasts. A pair of slender and beautiful legs, perfectly inherited from Su Beizu, slender and fair. Wearing a pair of stiletto heels on her feet. Wrapped in jade feet. Although she is now close to 40 years old, she is still full of charm and beauty. Madam, in the room. The servant said respectfully. Han Chunyu walked upstairs on high heels, but without making any sound, she quietly appeared behind Su Beizu's door. The sound in the room quickly came out. It's very comfortable. That's right, that's it, use a little force and don't take it away. Put it away, put it away. Hurry up, okay, I promise you, you put it away first. No more, no more. The sound in the room suddenly made Han Chunyu's eyes flash with coldness and murderous intent. She wanted to push the door in, but ended up killing the man who had done bad things to her daughter. But just as he was about to push the door open, his hand suddenly stopped. If he pushed the door open at this time, his daughter would definitely know that he was spying on her. The raw rice has already been cooked, and nothing can be changed. First investigate clearly which man it is. Then he tried to find a way to separate his daughter from him. This kind of city man was not worthy of his daughter. Breaking in now will only make her daughter look embarrassed. Think of this. Han Chunyu gritted his teeth, left the place quietly, went to his room, and told the servant not to say that he had been there. Time passes minute by minute. In the blink of an eye, it was already 1 o'clock in the morning. Li Qingshan had been here for 3 hours, and the sound in the room never stopped. Zhu Chunyu comes here from time to time. Hearing the constant sounds in the room, he clenched his fists, but it must be said that this man had 2 brushes. So long. How could my daughter's boyfriend last so long? On the contrary, it's a bit awesome. Pooh, what are you thinking about? Success. Li Qingshan looked at Su Baijiu, who had successfully stood up, with a look of relief on his face. Thank you, Li Qingshan. There was a touch of emotion in Su Beizu's eyes, and he looked at Li Qingshan beside him and said. Starting at the age of 3, Su Beizu never thought that one day he would be able to stand up from his wheelchair. But this time, myself, stood up. It turns out that this is what it feels like to stand up. How about you try taking 2 steps? Li Qingshan said. Su Beizu nodded and tried to take 2 steps, but unfortunately he couldn't stand firm and fell to the side. Li Qingshan hurriedly stepped forward and took Su Beizu into his arms. His soft body pressed tightly into his arms, and the girl's heart began to beat rapidly. Isn't it too fast? Su Beizu said with a blush on his face. We have known each other for several days. Li Qingshan said. Do you like me? Su Beizu gritted his teeth, looked at Li Qingshan in front of him with an innocent face, and asked. Like. Li Qingshan nodded. He liked all beauties, how could he not like Su Bai porridge? We are progressing too fast, others are doing it step by step. Su Beizu bit his lips lightly and said. Say it. The slender and white hands are like snakes. 2 o'clock in the morning. Li Qingshan left Su Beizu's home feeling refreshed and relaxed, and hurried towards his home. Inside the room, Su Baijiu shook his sore wrist and asked the maid to make a midnight snack for him. He was very hungry due to too much activity. Early the next morning, Li Qingshan opened his personal panel as soon as possible. Subject. Li Qingshan. Body length. 19 centimeters. Strength. Level 14 warrior. Blood. 25/80,000 can be upgraded. Talent. C level. Innate abilities. Thunder Electric Blood, Thunder Hammer. Already obtained the Electric Python talent, Thunder Hammer. Avatar. Electric Python. Body length. 3.5 meters. Strength. Level 14 Ferocious Beast. Blood. 25/80,000 can be upgraded. Talent. C level. You can evolve into a Thunder Anaconda at level 21, and the evolution path has been determined to be the 9-clawed Thunder Dragon, the Ancestral Dragon. The pork in the warehouse must have been almost eaten, so Li Qingshan clicked the upgrade button. Successfully consumed 80,000 chi and blood points. The main body was upgraded to a level 15 warrior, and the clone was upgraded to a level 15 ferocious beast. The next upgrade requires 160,000 chi and blood points. Successfully consumed 160,000 chi and blood points, the body was upgraded to a level 16 warrior, and the clone was upgraded to a level 16 ferocious beast. The next upgrade requires 320,000 chi and blood points. Upgraded 2 levels in a row. Li Qingshan could clearly feel that the blood in the blood sea in his dantian was even more surging. I hope someone will come looking for trouble today and have their equipment exploded by me. Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. The learning method of freshmen is the same as that of high school. There are no electives. All basic knowledge needs to be studied systematically. Only after sophomore year, electives will be started based on the talents of each route. So, classes are held in large classrooms. Early. A man wearing a black jacket appeared in the classroom and was waiting. His eyes showed murderous intent, and he seemed extremely untouchable. Within the class, students entered the classroom one after another and were shocked when they saw the man wearing a black jacket in the classroom. Everyone knows the man in front of them so well. One of the 3 devils who was a freshman at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, his photo is still hanging on the school's honor wall. He is a real master that the school is preparing to use to compete in the 100 Schools League. The one in front of me is wearing black clothes. Li Chengyu. Isn't this Li Chengyu, one of the 3 demon kings in our school? Why is he in our class? No need to ask, it must be the words Li Qingshan released yesterday. They are so arrogant that even this great devil can't stand it. Li Qingshan is really his own fault. Didn't he just rely on his ancestors Meng Yin and take a pill to temporarily increase his strength? What are you pretending to do in front of people like us? Sooner or later, we can to overtake him quickly as just a D-level warrior talent. I heard that Li Chengyu's strength has reached the level of an 11th level warrior. You must know that 11th level warriors and warriors below the 11th level are completely different worlds. Then Li Qingshan is an 8th level warrior. A 9th level warrior faces Li Chengyu, and will undoubtedly fail. How long have we just started school and we are already an 11th level warrior? You know what the hell, guys like Li Chengyu with terrifying talents have already tested their qualifications before us and then practiced martial arts. When they turned 18, they immediately started practicing martial arts, and combined with various elixirs and medicinal baths, they quickly reached the realm. Now, it's been half a month since school started, and it's normal to be able to reach level 11 through accumulation of experience. Of course, if this is put on us, it would be good to hit level 5 or 6 warriors at most. After all, our talents are here. The students in the class looked at Li Chengyu standing on the podium and began to discuss in low voices. Su Beizu controlled the wheelchair and walked in. When he heard the discussion of the students around him, he couldn't help but frown, with a trace of worry on his face. Li Qingshan arrived in the classroom quickly. Looking at Li Chengyu, who was wearing a jacket, he took the lead and said before he could speak, Li Chengyu, one of the 3 demon kings who are freshmen in Zhongcheng University, is an 11th level warrior, right? Oh, Li Chengyu frowned slightly, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes and said, you should know the purpose of my coming here. Of course I do. Fight with me, but I don't fight in vain. Li Qingshan said, I know the rules, 1 million dragon coins. After Li Chengyu said that, he immediately took out a dragon card and said, no, it's changed this time. Li Qingshan waved his hand and continued, there are 3 big demon kings in Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. It would be a waste of time to fight them one by one. Go and call the remaining 2, and I will fight 3 of them one by one. If I lose, I will drop out of school immediately, and you can ask me to do anything. But, what if the 3 of you lose 30 million dragon coins together? 1 against 3. After the words fell, everyone in the class opened their eyes wide, with shock and disbelief in their eyes. Some couldn't believe it. Isn't this Li Qingshan a little too arrogant? Those are the 3 mountains of new life. He actually wants to fight against 3. Li Qingshan, are you a little arrogant? Li Chengyu looked at Li Qingshan in front of him, chuckled and said with disdain. If you can find those 2, let's have a fight. If you can't find them, I won't fight you, because you alone are not enough for me to fight. Zhongcheng University stipulates that students can compete with each other, but if both parties are willing, it is impossible for you to attack me unless you wait until the freshman martial arts competition in a month. But then, you may not be able to meet me. Li Qingshan held Li Chengyu in front of him and said, good, I'll go find them both. Li Chengyu snorted coldly, turned around and went out directly. He just asked the 2 guys to come and stand for a while. It was not difficult. Try to be as fast as possible, after all, my time is more precious. Li Qingshan looked at Li Chengyu's back and said. Under the shocked eyes of his classmates, Li Qingshan returned to his seat. Do you want me to come to your house tonight? Li Qingshan asked in a low voice. Good. A blush flashed across Su Beizu's face, and he immediately said, last night, are you still feeling comfortable? Very nice. Li Qingshan nodded with satisfaction and continued, before I go back. Oh, I know. Su Beizu's face was red to the ears, and he quickly reached out and pinched Li Qingshan. The news that Li Qingshan wanted to challenge 3 demon kings quickly spread among the freshmen. Everyone was shocked and thought Li Qingshan was crazy. But, everyone was looking forward to it, expecting Li Qingshan to be beaten up by the 3 demon kings and asked to pretend to be bad. This matter soon spread among teachers such as Zhao Qianya, but after learning that Li Qingshan had taken a pill passed down from his ancestors. It must have been the elixir passed down by the female war goddess of the Li family, so everyone didn't take it seriously. After all, the Li family had a female war goddess, so it was normal to have a heaven-defying elixir that could increase strength. D-level warrior talent. From then on, Li Qingshan's strength was almost finalized, and he could not have any more prospects. These teachers were only interested in geniuses. I'm really not interested in waste. Wang Qingqia also learned about this and said, let's go meet him and say a short farewell. The other 2 freshman demon kings from Zhongcheng University became furious after hearing Li Qingshan's arrogant and domineering words, and they must have planned to teach Li Qingshan a lesson. He agreed to Li Qingshan and go together to teach him a lesson. Noon. On the playground, the 3 demon kings from Zhongcheng Martial Arts University still came here early and were waiting for Li Qingshan. There are many freshmen at Zhongcheng University. They all came to watch the excitement, their faces filled with excitement. It's a good show today. That kid Li Qingshan is really too arrogant. Someone needs to suppress him. A trash with D-level talent in martial arts still pretends to be a martial artist every day. If he doesn't rely on the pill from his ancestor Mengin, he will have no future in this life. After graduating from the martial arts university, whether he can break through to the 8th level warrior is a question. I heard that this guy hooked up with the daughter of the Su family, Su Bai Porridge. How come all the good cabbage was given to the pig? That's right, where did I go wrong? Isn't he just a cripple? What's so great about it? Wasn't Li Qingshan dumped by Wang Qingqia? Haha, that's right. Then why hasn't the boy come yet? Is he afraid? The freshmen on the playground spoke one after another, waiting for Li Qingshan to appear. Another 10 minutes later, Li Qingshan arrived late, and everyone moved out of the way, looking at the 3 new demon kings on the playground, and said, 30 million dragon cards, are you ready? Snort. Li Changyu snorted coldly, immediately took out a dragon card and said, there are 30 million in it, that's enough. Well, that's enough. Li Qingshan nodded with satisfaction and continued. Okay, you 3 can go up together, hurry up, I have other things to do. Haha, Li Changyu, this kid is really as arrogant as you said. You 2 watch, let me teach you a lesson first. It's a good idea to let this kid know. Trash, even if you get a chance, you are still trash. You are vulnerable in front of genius. The words fell. One of the new demon kings killed Li Qingshan, and the energy and blood all over his body burst out like a wild bull, igniting the power of a storm in the air. Full of energy, it is also the strength of an 11th level warrior. Take action. When everyone saw this, they were overjoyed and stared at the new demon king ravaging Li Qingshan with bated breath. Bang! The next moment, a dull sound sounded, and the body of the new demon king flew out directly, landing heavily on the ground, stirring up dust all over the ground. He felt his chest was heavy, his blood surged up, and he was extremely uncomfortable. Defeated. Everyone was shocked. They didn't see clearly how Li Qingshan took action just now. Just failed. How is it possible? That is the demon king among the freshmen at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, an 11th level warrior. What realm is this Li Qingshan in? The other 2 new demon kings also became interested and looked at Li Qingshan. Haha, the new demon king is nothing more than that. Li Qingshan chuckled and said disdainfully. Li Qingshan, what state are you in now? Li Changyu asked. 11th level warrior. Li Qingshan said. 11th level warrior. Weren't you only an 8th level warrior yesterday? Are you kidding me? Li Changyu said angrily. Or, you are not an 11th level warrior at all. Forgot to tell you. The elixir my grandma left behind didn't work once, but continued to work, so overnight, I became an 11th level warrior. Li Qingshan snorted coldly, with a flash of pride on his face and said, as for you beeping trash, I'm afraid most of you are not even 3rd level warriors now, right? Li Qingshan directly started group teasing. What the hell, what did you say? I can't bear it. How dare this kid say such a thing? You don't take me seriously. Just wait. I have a B-level warrior talent. It will only be a matter of time before I surpass you. Why are you so arrogant? Level 11 warrior. Li Changyu frowned, looked at the 2 new demon kings next to him, and instantly killed Li Qingshan. 3 against 1. In an instant, a strong murderous intent swept through the air, and chi and blood swept around. Horrifying. Everyone was shocked and held their breath. Bang bang bang. With 3 dull sounds, the 3 guys flew out directly and landed heavily on the ground, but they were not seriously injured. Got 30 million. Li Qingshan looked at the 3 unlucky guys on the ground and said, you can use alloy weapons to fight again, but each of you will have 30 million dragon coins, and if you lose, the alloy weapons will also be mine. How about that? Where are the 3 new demon kings? I think they are just 3 new cockroaches, nothing more than that. Waste. Kill him. Isn't it just 30 million for one person? He must be killed. Come on, I support 10,000 dragon coins, kill him. Isn't this kid too arrogant? If I don't do this to him, I won't be able to hold my head high in Zhongcheng University for the rest of my life, and will I be beaten by a useless person with a D-level warrior talent? The surrounding students were all joining in, with anger on their faces. They were really D off by Li Qingshan. The 3 new demon kings were still lying on the ground in a daze. After hearing what Li Qingshan said, he instantly got up from the ground. What 3 cockroaches? Isn't it just 30 million? Kill him. Li Changyu gritted his teeth and said. I will destroy him if I don't do it. I am not stable and will become a shadow in the future. I must kill him today. Kill him. Immediately. The 3 new demon kings immediately collected 90 million dragon coins. For rich second generations like them, 90 million was just that. They are all cultivated by the family with great efforts. Although it's a pain in the neck, they can still take it out. After all, the alloy weapons used by these 3 guys are directly S-class alloy weapons. starting with 10 million. 3S class alloy long knives worth at least 50 million. It feels so good. Looking at the 3S class alloy weapons taken out by the new 3 Demon Kings, Li Qingshan's eyes shone with light. Just give these 3 guys a breath. It was indeed the right choice. This guy still has some tricks up his sleeve. Wang Qingsha stood in the crowd, a flash of surprise flashed across his face, and then he chuckled and said, however, warriors who use S-class alloy swords are not so easy to deal with. Catch, catch. The next moment, the 3 new Demon Kings rushed towards Li Qingshan with angry expressions on their faces. The wind howled. As fast as the wind, the 3 long alloy knives flashed through the air with bursts of cold light, and headed straight for Li Qingshan's head with murderous intent. The temperature in the air suddenly dropped a few points. The students around him stared unblinkingly at the battle in front of them, for fear of missing this scene. Whoa! The next moment, Li Qingshan's body left an afterimage on the spot, instantly dodging the attack of 3 alloy long knives. Bang 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 carrot. There were 3 dull sounds, and 3 figures flew out directly, just like before. However, these 3 unlucky guys were drained of their dragon coins. Li Qingshan will not hold back anymore. A mouthful of old blood spurted out, and he immediately fell to the ground. His eyes were full of horror. He watched Li Qingshan pick up his alloy sword, and said with a mean smile on his face, "Thank you for the gift, old iron, haha." Li Qingshan, I didn't expect that in just a few days, you would be able to defeat the 3 new Demon Kings from Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. Just then, Wang Qingsha suddenly walked out of the crowd, looked at Li Qingshan, and said with a bit of contempt in his tone. Wang Qingsha, what, you regret it? Li Qingshan said calmly, but there's no point in regretting it. Don't forget to come to the competition in 1 month. Then you will be my concubine and serve my wife during the confinement period. Haha, what a joke. Wang Qingsha sneered and said scornfully, do you really think that after defeating the 3 new Demon Kings from Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, you will be invincible? Don't you still know where your strength comes from? In just a few months, these 3 freshmen will be able to quickly leave you behind. AD-level warrior talent is AD-level warrior talent. Besides, I have to tell you something. From today on, I will no longer be at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University. I have been selected for the God of War training camp. Starting tomorrow, I will report to the God of War training camp. From now on, we may really be one heaven and one underground. And, you have to remember the gap between us. Ares training camp. Hiss. After Wang Qingsha finished speaking, everyone present couldn't help but take a breath of cold air, their faces full of shock and disbelief. God of War training camp. I heard that every warrior who enters the God of War training camp has the potential to become a God of War in the future. The Wang family already has a God of War. If there is another God of War, that's okay. In our entire Zhong city, directly become number 1. Moreover, Wang Qingsha seems to be married to the Zhao family in the Demon City. Now he is the veritable number 1 family in Zhongcheng. After all, he has gained connections in the Demon City. The God of War training camp, isn't it only accessible to true geniuses? Wang Qingsha only has an S-level warrior talent, how can he go to the God of War training camp? That's right, even if you have SS-level warrior talent, you can't go to the God of War training camp. To start, you need to have SSS-level warrior talent, and you have to pass the assessment. Wang Qingsha has been in school these past few days, so how can he have time to take the assessment? Could it be said that the relationship is gone? Are you kidding me? Although the Wang family occupies the top spot in Zhong City, the God of War training camp is at the national level. With their energy, it is impossible to send an S-level warrior with talent into it. That's right, if you want to use the back door, you need corresponding strength. If a big family sends their children to the God of War training camp, they also need to have SSS-level warrior talents. When the surrounding students heard about the God of War training camp, they immediately went crazy. Everyone knew very well what kind of existence the God of War training camp was. Wang Qingsha was actually able to enter the God of War training camp. Can't believe it. When Wang Qingsha heard the questioning voices around him, he was as arrogant as a little swan and continued, "To be honest with you, I awakened the Golden Crow holy body a few days ago and was specially recruited by the God of War training camp." Golden Crow holy body. Quiet. At this moment, the entire playground was silent, and you could hear a pin drop. Everyone looked at Wang Qingche in shock. Golden Crow Holy Body. It turns out to be a special holy body above the SSS level. Whenever the holy body appears, he is almost a destined god of war, and he has the opportunity to impact a higher level of existence. There is smoke coming out of the Wang family's ancestral grave, and their daughter is actually the Golden Crow Holy Body. It's almost certain that she will be one of the future female war goddesses. Li Qingshan is indeed unworthy. He is not even worthy of licking Wang Qingche's feet. The Golden Crow Holy Body, even with a special physique, is an absolutely superior existence. No wonder it was spotted by the Zhao family in the Demon City and recruited as their daughter-in-law. I see. From now on, Zhongcheng will probably truly respect the Wang family. The Wang family produces a phoenix, and the Li family produces a dog. Haha, that's well said. The freshmen around him expressed envy and looked at Li Qingshan with disdain. Not a cow. Wasn't he dumped by Wang Qingche? How about comparing Li Qingshan to Wang Qingche? Haha, sorry, they are no longer on the same level. Golden Crow Holy Body. Haha, are you awesome? If you have the ability, let's have a fight. Li Qingshan snorted coldly, already impatient. Okay, do you think I'm afraid of you? Wang Qingche snorted coldly, his energy and blood circulated in his body, and a coldness flashed in his eyes. However, just when Wang Qingche was just starting to circulate his energy and blood, a high-pitched chirping sound from the Golden Crow suddenly came from his body. His body that had been standing upright suddenly softened and he fell heavily to the ground. A flash of flame flashed in his pupils. Her body is still in the process of awakening. Once her energy and blood are used now, she will easily explode and die. Su Beizu pushed the wheelchair over and said, Qingshan, forget it, you can decide the winner in a month. After all, even if she loses now, she will refuse to be your concubine. Say it. He waved to Li Qingshan quietly again, and Li Qingshan quickly leaned towards Su Beizu, and heard Su Beizu whisper in a low voice, if she defaults on her debt, this competition will not count if it is not a competition in a month, and I won't give it to you. If I become a concubine, who will take care of my confinement in the future? Finished. A blush rose on his face. Miss. Just then, a sharp sound suddenly sounded in the distance. A middle-aged female warrior quickly approached, picked up Wang Qingche on the ground and ran towards the distance. Miss, hold on, you will be fine soon. Now, there is no need to take action, someone has taken me away. Li Qingshan looked at the middle-aged female warrior who was hurried away and shrugged helplessly. That's fine. 1 month later, I defeated her openly and accepted her as my concubine. Snort. Su Beizu let out a coy sound and looked at Li Qingshan with a look of dependence. After sending Su Baijiu back to the classroom, Li Qingshan went out to the school. First, he sold all 3 S-class alloy long knives for a total of 50 million dragon coins. The weapons store owner looked at Li Qingshan with something wrong in his eyes. This guy comes here every day to sell alloy weapons. You're not really doing something about killing people and grabbing treasures, are you? The initial 30 million, plus the additional 90 million, totaled 12 million. Earned 50 million from selling alloy weapons. A total of 170 million. Then he went straight to the frozen product wholesale market. With so much money in hand, it would be more appropriate to quickly convert it into strength. Li Qingshan fought against 3 demon kings at noon today and easily defeated them. Wang Qingti is the Golden Crow Holy Body. These 2 incidents quickly spread throughout the campus. But, many people are not optimistic about Li Qingshan's strength and potential. If he relies on pills to temporarily reach some realms, he will soon be overtaken by warriors with better talents in the future. Boss, is there any flesh and blood of the ferocious beast? Li Qingshan asked. Yes, but the price is a little more expensive. Do you want it? The owner of the wholesale frozen meat shop asked. I want it. Do you have the flesh and blood of level 20 ferocious beasts? Li Qingshan nodded. The higher the level of the ferocious beast, the more energy and blood it can provide. The most important thing is his own electric python, which does not have to be so hard to swallow. Level 20, of course. But you also know that the blood and flesh of ferocious beasts are not sold by the pound, but by the price, because a first-level ferocious beast, the black-toothed rat, and a first-class ferocious beast, the iron-backed pig, can provide the same power. Quote. At level 20, the price of one is 1.6 million. You can decide how many you need, and if you have a race you like, you can put it forward. The frozen goods boss said. Is there anyone with a smaller body? Li Qingshan asked. Yes, there are armored silver-toothed rats. Each one weighs about 10 pounds. How many do you want? The frozen goods boss asked. Well, not much, probably 170 million dragon coins. After thinking for a while, Li Qingshan said. What? How many? The frozen goods boss looked confused. He quickly mobilized his surrounding partners and mobilized a large number of level 20 ferocious beasts. It was not easy to gather the quantity. Got some discounts. 108. The boss of the frozen goods still helped put it in the warehouse. After the boss left, the electric python crawled out from the corner and began to bite the flesh and blood of the level 20 murderer. The electric python swallows a level 20 ferocious beast, gains plus 1.7 million chi in blood, and feeds back plus 1.7 million chi in blood to the body. The electric python swallows a level 20 ferocious beast, gains plus 1.7 million chi in blood, and feeds back plus 1.7 million chi in blood to the body. The electric python swallows a level 20 ferocious beast, gains plus 1.7 million chi in blood, and feeds back plus 1.7 million chi in blood to the body. Systemic sounds kept flashing by. Final. Li Qingshan opened the panel and took a look. Subject. Li Qingshan. Body length. 19 centimeters. Strength. Level 16 warrior. Chi in blood. 183.6 million 320,000 upgradable. Talent. Sea level. Innate abilities. Thunder electric blood, Thunder hammer. Already obtained the electric python talent, Thunder hammer. Avatar. Electric python. Body length. 4.5 meters. Strength. Level 16 ferocious beast can be upgraded. Chi in blood. 183.6 million 320,000. Talent. Sea level. You can evolve into a thunder anaconda at level 21, and the evolution path has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, the ancestral dragon. Spent 640,000 health points, the main body is upgraded to a level 17 warrior, and the electric python is upgraded to a level 17 ferocious beast. Spending 1.28 million health points, the main body is upgraded to a level 18 warrior, and the electric python is upgraded to a level 18 ferocious beast. Spending 2.56 million health points, the main body is upgraded to a level 19 warrior, and the electric python is upgraded to a level 19 ferocious beast. Spending 5.12 million health points, the main body is upgraded to a level 20 warrior, and the electric python is upgraded to a level 20 ferocious beast. Spend 10 million health points, upgrade the main body to level 21, and the electric python begins to evolve. It will take 10 minutes. Do you want to evolve now? Start, reject. I am now in the warehouse, so it doesn't matter if I evolve directly here, so I clicked evolution immediately. 10 minutes later, the electric python's body grew rapidly, from its original length of less than 10 meters to 15 meters. Its body was thick and thick, covered with rich lines, and flashing with bursts of thunderous light. Open the system panel. Subject. Li Qingshan. Body length. 20 centimeters. Strength. Level 21 warrior. Chi and blood. 163 million 20 million upgradable. Talent. B level. Innate abilities. Thunder blood, Thunder hammer, Thunder shadow 3000 diseases. Already obtained the talent of Thunder anaconda and Thunder shadow 3000 diseases. Avatar. Thunder anaconda. Body length. 15 m. Strength. Level 21 ferocious beast. Chi and blood. 163 million 20 million upgradable. Talent. B level. You can evolve into a thunder dragon at level 31, and the evolution route has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, ancestral dragon. There have been new changes in the system panel. The first is that my talent has grown to level B. Every time the thunder anaconda evolves, it seems that the talents will all advance. If the thunder anaconda evolves into a thunder dragon next time, the talents will become A-level talents. Evolving again is S, then SS, SSS. Talent has almost no impact on him, so Li Qingshan is not very concerned about it. He still has more than 100 million energy and blood left, which is enough to continue upgrading. In addition, it evolves into the Thunder Anaconda Queen. He also gave himself a new talent, Rakeage 3000 Diseases. This is a set of speed skills. Once it is running, it moves extremely fast, like a thunder shadow, leaving behind afterimages, and its movements are strange. As for whether it is useful or not, we will have to wait until we have an evenly matched opponent to know. Next evolution. Is it a dragon? In his previous life, Li Qingshan had seen a lot of pythons and snakes. I have also seen pythons and river snakes in my life. But Zhao, I have never seen it before, and I never thought that I would have the opportunity to see it in this life. Keep clicking to upgrade. Consumption of 20 million energy and blood. The main body was successfully upgraded to level 22 warrior, and the Thunder Anaconda was successfully upgraded to level 22 ferocious beast. Consumption of 40 million energy and blood. The main body was successfully upgraded to level 23 warrior, and the Thunder Anaconda was successfully upgraded to level 23 ferocious beast. Consumption of 80 million energy and blood. The main body was successfully upgraded to level 24 warrior, and the Thunder Anaconda was successfully upgraded to level 24 ferocious beast. In the end, Li Qingshan spent 140 million energy and blood to successfully upgrade himself and the beast to level 24. Don't underestimate level 24. The graduation of students from Zhongcheng Martial Arts University is not entirely based on the academic year. There are two ways to graduate. The first type, after 3 years, graduate. The second type, level 30 warrior, graduates. Therefore, as long as you reach level 30, you will graduate immediately. He is now level 24, and even in his junior year, he is still an amazing existence. Good. This time, he went directly to provoke the whole school, and he must have gained a lot of benefits. My own Thunder Anaconda is long. It has also successfully evolved to a body length of 35 meters, and its huge body is entrenched in the warehouse, which is extremely terrifying. If this thing turns into a dragon, I'm afraid it's at least 100 meters long, and it won't be able to be stored in the warehouse. After leaving the warehouse, Li Qingshan returned to school. The looks in the eyes of many students in the classroom when they looked at Li Qingshan had changed a bit. There is envy, jealousy, and disdain. In their opinion, it won't be long before they can equal everything with their own talents. A bunch of trash, what are you looking at? The entire Zhongcheng University, not to mention you trash freshmen, even the sophomores and juniors, are all a bunch of trash. Snort. Say it. Just sit back in your seat. What Li Qingshan just said reverberated throughout the class in an instant, and then quickly began to spread throughout the campus. Certainly, Li Qingshan is indeed strong now, but the students in the class still don't dare to mock him in front of Li Qingshan, and only dare to talk behind his back. What's so great about it? Isn't it just relying on our ancestor Mengin? That's right, you are so arrogant. By the time you are a sophomore, everyone will be able to become 10 or even 20 level warriors. How can he still be considered a piece of shit? If the sophomores and juniors hear these words, they will definitely teach this guy a lesson. After school, Li Qingshan called his parents first, but it turned out that his parents were still working overtime. I really don't know what my parents are doing. I've been working overtime for several days. In desperation, he had to go to Su Beizu's villa. This time, in addition to Su Baijiu, Li Qingshan also met another woman in the villa. Han Chunyu, that is, Su Beizu's mother, who is still charming and has a very beautiful figure. Especially those long legs. No wonder Su Beizu's legs are so good looking, it turns out it's hereditary. Su Baijiu, is this your classmate? Han Chunyu looked at Li Qingshan with a somewhat evil look. That's right, Su Beizu nodded, ignoring his mother and said, Li Qingshan, push me upstairs. Good. Li Qingshan nodded, regardless of Han Chunyu's eyes, pushed Su Baijiu into the elevator and rushed upstairs. Su Baijiu, wait a moment. I have something to tell you. Seeing that her daughter and Li Qingshan were going upstairs again, Han Chunyu quickly stepped forward to stop them. All information about Li Qingshan. As early as yesterday, it was clearly investigated by Han Chunyu. Finally come to a conclusion. Such a man is not worthy of his daughter no matter what, and must be stopped. Come to the room and talk. Su Beizu frowned and said. Immediately, Li Qingshan, Han Chunyu and Su Beizu entered the room one after another. There is something strange in the air. Li Qingshan stared at Han Chunyu's legs and stiletto heels and swallowed secretly. Really nice. Mom, what are you going to say? Su Beizu got straight to the point and asked directly. Han Chunyu looked at her daughter and this strange man, frowned slightly and said, Su Baijo, I respect your opinion by asking you to come to Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, but please also respect your father and me. Absolutely not. You are allowed to fall in love in Zhongcheng. Fall in love. Madam, have you misunderstood? Li Qingshan gave Han Chunyu another hard look and said, I'm here to heal your daughter's injuries, and I've already started to see some results. What? Healing? Healing for what? Han Chunyu frowned deeper, stared at Li Qingshan in front of her and asked, You are a warrior from a small city, how can you not be good at medicine? The Su family has already hired famous doctors across the country to treat my daughter's injuries, but there is nothing we can do. Many of them have a team of doctors ranked top in the country, and even powerful warriors. Su Beizu's leg disease is born with it. No one can do anything about it. You say you can cure it. Aren't you the same as those fortune tellers and liars on the street? I know my daughter's urgent need to stand up, but I cannot tolerate my daughter being deceived by a liar like you, and having her hopes raised in her heart only to be shattered again. Madam, I can really treat your daughter and at least make her stand up. Li Qingshan said patiently. If it weren't for Su Bai porridge, Li Qingshan wouldn't want to explain so much, he would just turn around and leave. Stand up, hee. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, Han Chunyu sneered, looked at Li Qingshan disdainfully and said, How do you plan to get my daughter to stand up? Tell me. Han Chunyu almost laughed out of anger. Even the top doctors cannot achieve this step. If Li Qingshan can do it, those top doctors should find an opportunity to jump off the building and die. You will know if you let me touch your daughter's legs. Li Qingshan said, Touch your daughter's legs, Tian. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, he saw a wave of anger instantly hit Han Chunyu's head. He couldn't help but tremble slightly all over his body. He wished that his energy and blood would explode. Now he would teach the perverted pervert in front of him a lesson. You actually want to touch your daughter's legs? He is so brave. Li Qingshan, do you dare to repeat what you just said to me? Han Chunyu clenched a fist with one hand, the energy and blood in her body gradually flowing, and she was already ready to attack Li Qingshan in front of her. Mom, what are you doing? Seeing this, Su Beizu quickly controlled the wheelchair and took a step forward, pulled his mother behind him, stood in front of Li Qingshan and said, I don't allow you to hurt him. Su Baijo, you are my daughter. Don't be fooled by this liar, you are so deceitful. If this kid can really make you stand up, your mother and I will pinch his stinky feet for the rest of his life. Han Chunyu said, Pinch your feet, pin your feet for life. In an instant, Li Qingshan's eyes lit up, and he looked up and down at Han Chunyudao in front of him. He could no longer hold back his excitement and planned to show off. Madam, don't say these nonsense. Li Qingshan coughed dryly and said, My lady, I keep my word. If you can make my daughter stand up, I will pinch your feet for the rest of my life, so what? Snort. Han Chunyu snorted coldly. Just like this. Li Qingshan said. In front of Han Chunyu, a hand was placed on Su Beizu's slender and white calf. The thunder and lightning blood in his body was circulating, and the power of thunder and lightning slowly entered Su Beizu's calf. The next moment, something unexpected happened to Han Chunyu. Su Baijo actually stood up slowly from the wheelchair, although he still looked a little unstable. However, Su Baijo really stood up. This. Han Chunyu was speechless, and her heart was filled with turmoil, which was hard to believe. Hundreds of consultations with a team of top doctors. He couldn't cure the disease on his daughter's leg, but was cured by this little-known poor boy in front of him. How is it possible? How is this possible? Mom, I told you, Li Qingshan is treating me, please get out. Su Baijo said angrily. Okay, I'll go out, go out. Han Chunyu saw that her daughter really stood up, and she was so excited that she did not dare to refute Su Baijo at this time, and hurriedly walked out of the room. Why? At this moment, Li Qingshan suddenly shouted. I'm waiting for you. The next moment, Li Qingshan heard a faint mosquito sound coming from his ear. This was Han Chunyu's voice, but Han Chunyu was far away from him and it was impossible for him to make such a small sound. Could it be that this is the ability of a powerful warrior? Li Qingshan looked at Su Baijiu with a dull expression. It was obvious that Su Baijiu did not hear his mother's words. Next, Li Qingshan was in the room, continuing to treat Su Beizu's leg disease. Whether to contract the phoenix larva. However, just when the relationship between Li Qingshan and Su Beizu was rising, a system prompt suddenly appeared in front of them. Whether. Tip. Once the contract is successful, the system can transform the body of the phoenix larva for the host, so that its body can withstand the power of the soul in the body and avoid lameness. Phoenix hatchling. Li Qingshan was slightly startled, looking at the confused and fascinated Su Baijiu in front of him, his eyes full of doubts. This is obviously a human being, why is it just a phoenix larva? Is it possible? Is it the human body or the soul of the phoenix? Or, similar to the reincarnation of a phoenix? However, if a contract can be made, Li Qingshan will naturally not let it go. Click Yes now. Contract successful. Obtain contract object, phoenix larva. The panel has been opened, the binding between the two parties is completed, and the phoenix larva is 100% loyal to the host. The strength of the contract object has advanced and will feed back a certain amount of blood to the protagonist. Whether to treat the leg disease of phoenix larva immediately. Whether. 3 hours later, it was already early in the morning. Li Qingshan looked at Su Baijiu, who looked a little more charming, and said, Su Baijiu, do you feel anything is different? What's different? Su Beizu was wearing white socks, with a pair of slender long legs curled up. Immediately, there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. It seems that I can't live without you. Say it. Biting her lips lightly, a blush rose on her face. It seems that Su Baijiu doesn't know this, but if Su Beizu's strength increases, he will still give himself a certain amount of energy and blood. Open the system panel. Subject. Li Qingshan. Body length. 20 centimeters. Strength. Level 24 warrior. Qi and blood. 02,160,000,000. Talent. B level. Innate abilities. Thunder blood, thunder hammer, thunder shadow 3000 diseases. Already obtained the talent of thunder anaconda, thunder shadow 3000 diseases. Avatar. Thunder anaconda. Body length. 35 meters. Strength. Level 24 ferocious beast. Qi and blood. 02,160,000,000. Talent. B level. You can evolve into a thunder dragon at level 31, and the evolution route has been determined to be the 9-clawed thunder dragon, the ancestral dragon. Contractor. Phoenix larva. Name. Su Bai Porridge. Strength. Level 0 warrior. Talent. SSS level. Open Phoenix divine body after level 10. Really. At the bottom of the system panel, a simple panel about the phoenix larva appeared, but I didn't expect that Su Baijiu was actually a SSS level warrior talent. However, after reaching level 10, the talent should turn into the phoenix divine body, just like Wang Qingsha's golden crow holy body. Su Baijiu, actually I have a way to completely cure your leg disease. Do you want to stand up? Li Qingshan asked. Think. But, I don't want to either. After Su Beizu heard Li Qingshan's words, he was not surprised, but there was a trace of confusion on his face. Why don't you think about it? Li Qingshan asked. If my leg disease is cured, my mother will definitely take me back to the magic city and never see you again. But at the same time, I also want to stand up. However, now I think it's good not to stand up so early. Su Beizu bit his lip and said, the time I spent with you is the happiest day for me. I want to make this happy day last longer. I think, actually, you can pretend that you are still lame, isn't that enough? Li Qingshan said. This. Su Beizu was startled for a moment, then a look of surprise appeared on his face and he said, why didn't I think of this method? Oh, you didn't even think of such a simple method. Yes. Li Qingshan immediately clicked on the treatment of the physical disease of the phoenix larva, and immediately placed a hand on Su Beizu's calf. The next moment, Su Beizu felt that his calf, which had no feeling at first, had regained consciousness at this moment, and was able to receive the information passed in his mind. Even if Li Qingshan takes his hand away, Su Beizu could also clearly feel the power coming from his legs, and he really slowly stood up from the wheelchair. Li Qingshan, I stood up on my own. Su Beizu cried with joy, and small pearls hung in the corners of his eyes. Well, starting from today, you can take the path of cultivating a warrior. Your talent is so good, you can't waste it. You have to work hard to practice. Li Qingshan opened his mouth to encourage him. That's right. The harder Su Beizu practiced, the more energy and blood he fed back to himself. Well, I will definitely do it. Su Beizu nodded solemnly, still immersed in the joy of being able to stand up. Next, an hour and a half later, Li Qingshan left the room with satisfaction and walked out of the villa while holding on to the wall. The next moment, a charming figure stood in front of Li Qingshan, wearing a black suspender belt and stiletto heels. It was Wang Chunyu, staring at him with a rather unkind look. Li Qingshan was shocked. There is always a bad feeling. After all, this girl is a powerful warrior. Mrs. Han, please respect yourself. It's illegal to kill someone, Li Qingshan said with a hint of caution in his eyes. Giggle. Han Chunyu chuckled lightly and said like a silver bell, I was reckless just now. I thought you were a lecherous liar who wanted to take advantage of my daughter, but I never thought you were treating my daughter. My daughter hasn't been happy for a long time. Is there anything you want? If it's not too much, I can satisfy you. Of course, give me some time to mentally prepare for the foot-pinching thing. Lack of money. Li Qingshan went straight to the topic. I have 2 dragon cards here with a limit of 100 million, totaling 200 million. You can use them first. Han Chunyu said. He immediately took out 2 cards from a ring on his finger and handed them to Li Qingshan. This is. Li Qingshan looked at the ring on Han Chunyu's finger, a flash of envy flashed on his face and said, Space ring. If you like it, I'll have someone give one to you tomorrow. Han Chunyu nodded. 200 million dragon coins and an expensive space ring are nothing compared to his daughter's happiness. Thank you, ma'am. Li Qingshan was overjoyed, but he didn't expect to end up wearing a space ring. After leaving the villa, Li Qingshan hurried towards home. Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau. Hey, it's a ferocious beast. In Nanfu community, there are so many ferocious beasts in Nanfu community. Help, come and help. Ah. The phone call stopped abruptly, and the emergency bell rang quickly throughout the Zhongcheng Murderer Management Bureau. Hundreds of warriors wearing special combat uniforms drove vehicles towards the Nanfu community. Nanfu community. At this moment, it has turned into a bloody hell. A large number of ferocious beasts rushed into the community and began to kill the people in the community indiscriminately. These monsters have already lurked into Zhongcheng. But it's all hidden. It was not until today that they were all exposed and attacked the Nanfu community. The Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau has long known that there are ferocious beasts sneaking into the city, and there are quite a lot of them, but they don't know what the purpose of these ferocious beasts is. Now, a large number of ferocious beasts have attacked Nanfu community, and the answer to the mystery will surely be revealed soon. 10 minutes later, a large number of warriors appeared in the Nanfu community. Human limbs were everywhere in the square, on the lawn, and on the roads, and the air was filled with a strong smell of blood. Extremely offensive. The roars of wild beasts, the screams of pain from the people. Ah, help. A resident of the community on the 7th floor seemed to have a vicious beast in his home. He was so frightened that he jumped down from the window sill. The body fell heavily on the hard concrete ground, smashing into pieces, blood and flesh splattered, and the eyes did not know where they fell. Save me, save me. A resident kept struggling and crawling towards the warrior in front, and behind him there was an iron-backed wolf that was tearing at the resident's legs. A large amount of flesh and blood was eaten away, leaving only white bones. The Ruan people are incomparable. But even so, this resident was unwilling to give up hope of survival, and kept struggling and wailing. The iron-backed wolf has ferocious muscles all over its body, and its most vulnerable back is now covered with a layer of black armor, which makes its defense sore. It has a mouth full of fangs, and a fishy smell will fill the air when it opens its mouth. The 4 sharp claws exuded Ruan's cold light, and the momentum was terrifying. An even more terrifying python squirmed in the corridor, wrapped around a woman with an excellent figure, stuffed it from head to toe into its bloody mouth, and began to devour her. There was also a green-haired rat that sneaked into the room silently. Its sharp claws had already opened the abdomen without the other person paying attention, and a large amount of intestines and internal organs flowed out. The air is filled with blood. Start immediately to eliminate all vicious beasts in Nanfu community. After the 7th captain of the Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau finished speaking, hundreds of his men rushed into the community and began to kill the ferocious beasts in the community. Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau. There are 10 brigades in total, and the remaining 9 brigades need to be stationed in other places in Zhongcheng. Only 7 brigades can handle it here. Report to the captain. The first team of the 7th Brigade has arrived at the mission location and has begun monitoring the entire site. Report to the captain. The second team of the 7th Brigade has arrived at the mission location and started cleaning up building No. 1. Report to the captain. The third team of the 7th Brigade has arrived at the mission location and has begun to clean up the vicious beasts on the roads in the community. Report to the captain. The 10th team of the 7th team has arrived at the mission location and can stop the ferocious beasts from running out of the community at any time. Comrades, come back safely. Yes, yes, yes. All of a sudden, in the Nanfu community, a large number of warriors began to clean up the ferocious beasts, each one bursting out with terrifying power, filled with blood and murderous intent. Bang! A dull sound sounded, and the warrior's fist hit an iron-backed wolf hard on the head, and his body flew out and hit the wall behind him. Large cracks appeared on the wall of the room. The iron-backed wolf shook his head vigorously and got up from the ground. One of his eyes had exploded and a large amount of blood flowed out. However, he still had strong vitality. He grinned and started to kill the warrior. The alloy fist gloves in the hands of the warrior in front of him collided with each other, and his body was covered with standard armor. With the power of chi and blood, he once again killed the armored wolf in front of him. Bang bang bang. One after another, dull sounds continued to sound, and the fists were punching to the flesh, which was extremely terrifying. The vibrations could be felt throughout the entire floor. And this is the case. But it happens everywhere in the community. One warrior's armor was torn open, and a ferocious beast, a violent ape, tore the warrior's flesh and blood into its mouth, exuding a strong aura of violence. The entire Nanfu community. In an instant, it turned into a hell on earth, with human corpses and ferocious beast corpses. 2 hours later, in the end, the human warriors were superior, and the ferocious beasts began to retreat steadily. One group reported that a level 22 ferocious beast ran out of the south gate, a black-clawed blood wolf. A group reported that a level 28 ferocious beast ran out from the east wall of the community, a ghost spider. One group reported that a level 20 ferocious beast, a violent frost wolf, ran out from the underground parking garage at the west gate of the community. The 10th group received it and are on their way to stop it. The 10th group received it and are heading. In the intercom, voices kept ringing. Everyone was dividing their duties and doing what they should do. Dark night, silence, emergency call for help, emergency call for help. The information about the violent frost wolf is wrong. It is not a level 22 beast, but a level 26 beast. Teammates have been sacrificed. Teammates have been sacrificed. Asking for support, asking for support. A 25-level female warrior, with a look of horror on her face, kept calling for help and support. Hold on, support is on the way, there are still 3 minutes, 3 minutes. It's too late, it's too late. The female warrior from Zhongcheng's Ferocious Beast Management Bureau looked at the violent frost wolf approaching her step by step, with the corpses of 2 companions parked next to her, and felt as if her heart was filled with despair. It's over now, I'm afraid I have to explain it here. Ho 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 ho. The violent frost wolf let out an excited roar and killed the female warrior in front, its fangs flashing with cold light and the smell of blood. The Ruan people are incomparable. No, the female warrior yelled and quickly put her arms in front of her, but the pain from Kyubi did not come. When she opened her eyes, a scene that the female warrior would never forget happened in front of her. A young man's whole body flashes with the power of thunder. The terrifying electric arc beats, exuding destructive power, like a thunder demon descending. Opposite, the violent frost wolf stepped back dozens of steps, its claws were covered with burns, and it stared at Li Qingshan in front of him, letting out low roars. Sister-in-law, are you okay? Li Qingshan looked at the woman behind him and asked. Qingshan, why is it you? Li Hongmei looked at Li Qingshan in front of her, a look of surprise flashed across her beautiful face. Why can't it be me? Li Qingshan raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. At this moment, the violent frost wolf was charging towards Li Qingshan again, with a violent aura all over his body. Murderous, seemingly extraordinary. Sister-in-law, we'll catch up on old times later. I'll deal with this ferocious beast first. Li Qingshan yelled angrily, circulated the thunder and electricity blood in his body, and killed the violent frost wolf in front of him. My grandmother gave birth to a total of 3 sons and 2 daughters. The father was the third, and this sister-in-law was the 5th. Since my grandmother disappeared, the family was quickly encroached on by several other families in Zhongcheng, and they had to find another way to make a living. And my sister-in-law Li Hongmei. Then he worked in the Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau. Qingshan, this is a level 26 ferocious beast, you have to be careful. Li Hongmei stared at Li Qingshan's back with a worried look, and her heart was filled with turmoil. If I remember correctly, Li Qingshan has just entered his freshman year at Martial Arts University this year, right? But how long has it been since school started? How is it possible to break through so many realms? Now this energy and blood power must have reached level 24. Besides, the martial arts skills practiced on the body are also powerful, and they are actually thunder techniques. Refa, this is an excellent martial arts technique, extremely precious, and extremely difficult to understand. Only those with extraordinary talents can practice it. I didn't expect that. My nephew, Li Qingshan, actually practiced the thunder method. Could it be that I remembered it wrong? My nephew is actually a sophomore or junior in college. Impossible. Li Hongmei looked at Li Qingshan in front of her, her heart filled with shock. Ho 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 ho. The violent frost wolf let out a roar and rushed in front of Li Qingshan, its body exuding frost and cold light, and its teeth were sharp. Hard claws. With just one tap, a person's belly can be easily cut open, and the internal organs can flow all over the place. I want to see how the 26th level ferocious beast fares. Li Qingshan's eyes showed a hint of killing intent. You should also try it yourself to see what your current combat effectiveness is. Tian. The next moment, Li Qingshan punched out, and his energy and blood were mixed with the power of terrifying thunder, and a dazzling electric light bloomed in the night sky, carrying a terrifying aura of destruction. Bang! A dull sound sounded, and Li Qingshan's fist collided heavily with the violent frost wolf's claws. Zzzz! Thunder suddenly burst out from Li Qingshan's energy and blood, and instantly wrapped around the body of the violent frost wolf, and the originally white hair instantly became scorched. It was like a wild dog that suddenly came into contact with high-voltage electricity. The huge body flew out upside down. It fell heavily to the ground, and the air was filled with the smell of burnt meat. The violent frost wolf's body was severely damaged. As he moved and struggled, a large amount of fur that had been cooked by electricity fell off his body, revealing scarlet flesh, and a large amount of blood continued to flow toward the ground. So powerful. Li Hongmei, who was standing behind Li Qingshan, had a look of shock in her apricot eyes. Judging from Li Qingshan's energy and blood strength, he should be no more than a level 24 warrior, and he did not use alloy weapons or alloy armor, but the beast in front of him was really a level 26 beast. What has happened to my nephew? Li Hongmei was shocked. The leader of the beast management team who came to the rescue behind him was also shocked. When coming from a distance, the team leader saw Li Qingshan's whole body flashing with thunder, using the strength of a level 24 warrior to resist a level 26 ferocious beast. No, it's a killing. After the level 26 ferocious beast got up from the ground, its body staggered and fell to the ground within a few moments, twitching and struggling. There is no chance of survival. Li Qing put his hands behind his hands and thought to himself, with his talent of thunder and electricity blood, he can directly kill by leapfrog. If he uses the Hammer of Thunder and the Thunder Shadow 3000 diseases, he will definitely be able to kill stronger beasts. Quote, "Boy, are you from Zhongcheng Martial Arts University?" The 10th team leader of the Beast Management Bureau came over in black clothes, looked at the beast lying on the ground, and asked. Li Qingshan turned around and nodded. You have good strength, and you can also use the martial arts of lightning. You must be a junior student, right? What's your name? I'll register you as an honorary student later. The 10th team leader continued to ask. I'm a freshman, Li Qingshan said. Oh, freshman, what? Freshman. After Li Qingshan finished speaking, Shen Lian, the leader of the 10th group, opened his eyes instantly and said with disbelief in his tone, Didn't the freshman just start school less than a month ago? Are you sure you were a freshman? Yes, freshman Li Qingshan. Li Qingshan nodded, looked at Li Hongmei and said, yes, sister-in-law. Ah, Li Hongmei's mouth twitched slightly. Li Qingshan was indeed a freshman, but now seeing Li Qingshan's strength, Li Hongmei found it hard to believe that Li Qingshan was a freshman. He had no choice but to nod his head in agreement. It's incredible that a freshman can kill a level 26 ferocious beast. It seems that your name is not among the 3 new demon kings, right? Shen Lian was stunned and stared at Li Qingshan in disbelief. Without, those 11th level warriors are not worthy of being compared with me. Li Qingshan said. Indeed, indeed. Shen Lian stared at Li Qingshan in front of him, as if staring at a treasure and said, how about it, are you interested in working part-time at our Ferocious Beast Management Bureau? Part-time. Li Qingshan was slightly startled. That's right, our Fierce Beast Management Bureau will open a part-time channel for outstanding students. After graduation, they can directly join the Fierce Beast Management Bureau. On weekdays, he is responsible for killing the ferocious beasts in the city and protecting the safety of the people in the city. Compared to the military's foreign wars, our Zhongcheng Beast Management Bureau is a relatively safe job, and the pay is not too bad, and we can take better care of our families in the future. Shen Lian thought for a while and continued, if you come, I can apply for a group leader position for you. Ah, what's the quota for team leader? When Li Hongmei heard this, her eyes widened and she said, team leader, are you kidding me? Qingshan's strength seems not up to standard, right? Why, don't say that. Your nephew has unlimited potential. If he is given an official position as a team leader, he will definitely be able to apply for it. How about it? Do you want to think about it? Or if you have other requests, you can make them. Shen Lian stared at Li Qingshan in front of him, as if staring at a treasure. Freshman level 24 warrior. What is this concept? It is estimated that he can graduate directly in his freshman year. For such a terrifying talent, both private warrior organizations and the military will compete for it. Our Fierce Beast Management Bureau will not take action at this time. In the future, there will be competition. Well, if I kill the beast, can you give me the body of the beast? After Li Qingshan thought for a while, he asked the most important question. Certainly, the ferocious beast is yours, and you can also get a certain amount of merit points, which can be exchanged for alloy weapons, armor, elixirs and other items at our Fierce Beast Management Bureau. Shen Lian nodded solemnly and said, is that so? Li Qingshan was really a little excited. Now he felt more and more that the price of the flesh and blood of ferocious beasts was high. The most he could do in Zhongcheng University was to cheat him again. Wait until you get the last handful. His true combat power has been almost exposed. By then, if you want to make money at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, it is almost impossible to use this method. But his clone is in urgent need of a lot of flesh and blood. Slay ferocious beasts in the city. It is indeed safe and a good choice. You can also take the corpses of ferocious beasts back for your clones to eat. Moreover, there is also a free intelligence bureau called the Fierce Beast Management Bureau, which tells you where the ferocious beasts are and what level of strength they have. After killing the ferocious beasts, you can use merit points to exchange for various alloy weapons, armor, and elixirs. Such a good thing. It's really hard to find. Moreover, there is also a quota for the official position of team leader. Okay, then I'll join. Li Qingshan nodded. Okay, follow me back to see the captain. The 10th team leader was overjoyed and immediately led Li Qingshan towards the location of Nanfu community. As for Li Qingshan, he did not forget to drag the violent frost wolf with him, which was all his own vitality. Nanfu community. The battle is coming to an end, and all the team members are dealing with the last remnants of the beast. The captain of the 7th Brigade of the Zhongcheng Ferocious Beast Management Bureau looked Li Qingshan in front of him up and down and said, check it out. Yes. The secretary next to him nodded and quickly entered Li Qingshan's information on the light screen computer next to him, and the file was instantly called up. He said, Captain, we found out that Li Qingshan is 18 years old, lives in a shanty town, his parents are still alive, he is a freshman at Zhongcheng Martial Arts University, his martial artist talent is D level, his strength has not been recorded. What? Warrior talent level D. That's right. Zhang Haihu, captain of the 7th Brigade, was slightly startled and looked at the secretary behind him. That's what it says on the file. The secretary said. Freshman, D-level warrior talent, 24th level warrior. It's really weird. Zhang Haihu looked at Shen Lian and said, are you sure that this guy killed this level 26 ferocious beast, the violent frost wolf? Sure, see it with your own eyes. Not only did I see it, Li Hongmei also saw it. Shen Lian nodded solemnly, with a look of determination on his face. Haha, Shen Lian, are you dazzled? This kid doesn't have alloy weapons or armor. How can he kill a level 26 ferocious beast? Just then, the leader of the 9th group came over and smiled. The freshman has the strength of a 24th level warrior. He can burst out his energy and blood to show us. The leader of the 6th group also said with a look of disbelief on his face. Moreover, the freshmen have no actual combat experience, how can they leapfrog the ranks and kill the ferocious beasts? No way. Li Qingshan's identity and information are really suspicious. Freshmen have been in school for less than a month. The strength of a 24th level warrior is something that everyone rarely hears about, or even unheard of. Not to mention, it is even more doubtful that he can kill a level 26 ferocious beast without using alloy weapons or armor. When Li Qingshan saw the questioning looks on the faces of the people around him, his energy and blood circulated in his body, and a terrifying and strong evil spirit swept around him. Really, the strength of a 24th level warrior. This time, the faces of several team leaders around him showed serious expressions. Does this kid really have the strength of a 24th level warrior? You are indeed in the 24th grade. If you were really a freshman, you would probably be the first in your grade, right? The leader of the 3rd team doubted. Isn't it possible that your boy started his career as a warrior before he turned 18? That way he can indeed improve his strength in advance, and he will be well ahead of his peers after entering the martial arts university. But those who start the path of a warrior before the age of 18, without exception, will soon suffer physical damage due to starting the path of a warrior in advance, and their realm will rapidly decline, thus becoming a waste. No, after I turned 18, I took a pill left by my ancestors and quickly raised my strength to level 24. I'm lucky. So, I don't think I improved myself with talent, but also with the help of external forces. If you think that I am not qualified to join the Ferocious Beast Management Bureau, then give up. Li Qingshan said. After the words fell, everyone suddenly realized that it was so. Use elixirs to improve. In this case, it can be explained clearly that there are some elixirs with incredible efficacy and terrifying effects. However, this kid's talent is D-level. I am afraid that future achievements will not be too high unless there is always such a heaven-defying elixir. For a while, everyone has lost interest in Li Qingshan, including Zhang Haihu, captain of the 7th Brigade. I thought he was a genius. It turned out that it was caused by taking pills. The leader of the 10th group who recommended Li Qingshan also had a look of shame on his face. I thought I recommended a genius to the administration. I just didn't expect it. Ho ho ho. At this moment, not far away from everyone, a ferocious beast with explosive black armor suddenly jumped over the wall of the community and fled quickly outside. The level 27 ferocious beast, the explosive black armored bear, escaped from the east wall of the community. Please send someone quickly to stop the killing. The voices of a group of observers came from everyone's headphones. Level 27. All go. The leader of the 3rd group said, waving his wrist. Wait. Zhang Haihu suddenly stopped the leader of the 3rd group, looked at Li Qingshan behind him and said, young man, do you want to give it a try? As long as you can kill this exploding black armored bear, I'll recruit you into the Fierce Beast Management Bureau and give you a spot as team leader, how about that? Does the corpse of the vicious beast belong to me? Li Qingshan asked. Certainly. Good. Li Qingshan looked at the exploding black armored bear that was fleeing not far away, with a hint of coldness in his eyes. The next moment, his body burst out with terrifying energy and blood, and he rushed forward quickly, followed closely by the other team leaders and the captain of the 7th Brigade. Next, it's time to see Li Qingshan's performance. This kid is really fast, not at all like the speed of a level 24 warrior. A team leader followed behind. The exploding black armored bear had been blocked by 2 level 27 warriors, but the exploding black armored bear had already fallen into a violent state. The two level 27 warriors were no match for a moment and were beaten back steadily. If it weren't for the alloy weapons and armor in hand. Already killed in action. The exploding black armored bear is in a violent state and has the strength of a level 28 ferocious beast. Boy, are you sure you still dare? Zhang Haihu looked towards Li Qingshan, only to find that Li Qingshan, who was standing on one side, had long since disappeared and appeared on the battlefield. This kid is crazy. This exploding black armored bear has already gone berserk and has the strength of a level 28 ferocious beast. One of the team leaders frowned. Being able to withstand 3 moves, oh no, 1 move under this exploding black armored bear means that this kid is pretty good. Another group leader said, ho ho ho. When the exploding black armored bear saw that someone was actually taking the initiative to attack him and kill him, he immediately let out a roar, and erupted with terrifying rage from all over his body, and he started to kill Li Qingshan. The exploding black armored bear's physical body is powerful. Just like a tank, the whole body is covered with thick armor. It is extremely difficult to kill and extremely cruel. Even warriors have armor and alloy weapons with them. I dare not confront him head-on. Instead, choose a roundabout or sneak attack to kill the exploding black armored bear. However, Li Qingshan, went straight towards the exploding black armored bear, with no intention of making a sneak attack or taking detours to find weaknesses. Sure enough, he is a freshman with no actual combat experience. How dare he confront the explosive black armored bear head-on? The exploding black armored bear, even warriors of the same level, can only make detours or sneak attacks. Even warriors who are 1 level higher than the exploding black armored bear dare not confront it head-on. Is this kid crazy? Suddenly, several team leaders of the 7th Brigade looked at each other and shook their heads secretly. They were not optimistic about Li Qingshan's next battle situation. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.